Live broadcast of Naruto begins with a movie The Death of Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201. Hey, what is the new technique you mentioned? Limited Tsukuyomi, a strange man who looked like a pitcher plant, with a black and white face and wearing an Akatsuki robe, asked the people around him. It's a prototype of the infinite Tsukuyomi. The man wearing a spiral mask and Akatsuki robes answered. He took out a crystal ball from his robes and stared at the rock statue of the fourth Hokage. Before casting, you must first understand what the target of the spell wants. The target is Uzumaki Naruto. Great. 2 more members of the Akatsuki organization have been exposed. Hurry up and write down their appearances and issue a bounty. How can you remember someone wearing a mask? Who can recognize him once he takes off the mask? This guy who looks like a pitcher plant is very recognizable, but is he really a human? He looks too weird, right? There are thousands of ninjutsu in this world, as well as various secret techniques and blood limit. What's wrong with a slightly strange appearance? There is no information on people with similar looks in the black market. It seems that he is either hiding well or has not joined Akatsuki yet. All countries have been investigating for a month. Has anyone found Akatsuki's base? Is the target Naruto? After we took Gaara, it's Naruto's turn now. Konoha shouldn't be like Tsunagakure, where the enemy directly kidnapped the Jinchuriki from the village. I think it's good that the enemy was not defeated by Naruto. By the way, the target is Naruto. Why does his crystal ball show the rock statue of the fourth Hokage? Limited Tsukuyomi and Infinite Tsukuyomi, these are ninjutsu I've never heard of. Does anyone recognize them? Is it not another ninjutsu from Konoha? Was it invented by that black-hearted Tobirama Senju again? The expression of Tobirama Senju in the Pure Land turned dark. Don't put all the bad things on him. But Tsukuyomi? I remember it was the eye technique of the main Gekyo. Infinite Tsukuyomi. Uchiha Madara narrowed his eyes slightly. Since the appearance of the sky curtain, he had been prepared for his plan to be exposed, so he didn't care too much. Instead, Obito's behavior made him smile coldly. Is there a limited Tsukuyomi? As Obito grows older, he begins to doubt my words. He wants to personally verify the truth of the infinite Tsukuyomi? That's all he can do. Inside the belly of the god of death, Namake's Minato frowned at the sky curtain. The mask of the man on the sky curtain is different from the one worn by the mysterious man who released the 9 tails 12 years ago, but there is also a hole in the right eye, and the voices of the two are also very similar, so Namake's Minato has reason to suspect that they are the same person. So this person is also a member of Akatsuki. But there is no way to explain why he controlled the Kurama to attack Konoha. Maybe he joined after my death? Now he is targeting Naruto again. Obito's expression turned slightly cold. At the beginning of the plan, he was very averse to any behavior that might expose his identity. Even though he had been prepared to be exposed by the sky curtain like Uchiha Madara, his emotions were inevitably affected when the time came. Black Zetsu also hated this kind of bomb that might be detonated at any time. It can be said that he is the life form that the entire ninja world is most worried about being exposed by the sky curtain. If it really happens, he might have to lie dormant for 1,000 years again to guide a new story. But he was unwilling to accept it. This was obviously the closest time to his mother. He was in a very bad mood, so Black Zetsu casually asked, "What is this limited moon reading?" I don't know. Who knows what I will think in the future? Obito replied coldly, but the sky curtain gave him a good suggestion. Maybe he should verify whether what old man Madara said was true. In the Hidden Rain village, Nagato looked at the sky with an expressionless face. He had long known that this Uchiha Madara was not on the same page with him, and thought that he had other plans behind the scenes. Now it seems to be true. Nagato didn't know what the infinite Tsukuyomi was, but there was no doubt that the condition for performing this ninjutsu is the tailed beast, so there was still room for cooperation between the two sides. As for who would succeed in the end, it would depend on who had better skills. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Jiraiya, Kakashi and other Konoha high-level officials perked up after the masked man clearly stated that the target was Naruto. No matter what, they would not let Naruto get into trouble in Konoha, so it was crucial to figure out the enemy's ability. The view turned to Konoha. In a slightly old house, Naruto in plain clothes was sitting at the dining table and he muttered to himself, Today is the last day of this rare vacation, so in order to conserve my energy for the next mission, I might as well open the limited edition platinum ramen that I have treasured and have a good meal. Like a child who has got a new toy, Naruto danced with joy while holding the instant ramen high in his hands, but he lost his excitement after a while. So Naruto thought about it and created 2 shadow clones to show off the ramen in his hands to them. The 3 of them performed Rikugo in a serious manner, and even held a poker competition to decide who would eat the bowl of instant noodles. Once Naruto appeared, the sense of crisis disappeared instantly. Naruto, you are too boring. This is not how you use the shadow clone. It's just eating ramen, but you're making so much of a fuss. There's a lot of instant ramen hidden in the cupboard. If you want to grow tall and strong, you can't eat too much of this stuff. Kushina in the Pure Land nodded in agreement. This statement must have come from an experienced mother. I saw Kakashi bring him vegetables from Naruto's memories before, but he didn't seem to like them. Tisk, he can't be picky about food. I wonder if Naruto has seen the chakra I left in his body. Jiraiya, who was originally concentrating on analyzing the enemy's ability, was speechless after seeing Naruto entertaining himself on his day off. You guy, do such boring things on your day off? Even if you don't practice, you should go out and play with your friends, like those children who hate their parents' excessive discipline. Naruto actually responded impatiently, no way. That's because you don't know how delicious the limited edition platinum ramen is. It's quite a blessing to be able to eat such a bowl of instant noodles on the day off. Stinky boy, next time I go to your house, I will eat all your instant noodles. I want to see how happy I am. Chapter 202. At this time, the third team, which had just delivered a task, walked out of the Hokage's office and happened to meet Kakashi, who came to perform the follow-up task. Tenten and Neji discussed going to the bathhouse to relax, but Xiaoli refused the invitation and said he wanted to practice. Kai, who had originally expressed his willingness to join the training, collapsed to the ground due to excessive consumption. Kakashi had no choice but to take the initiative to take this troublesome matter, and then entrusted Xiaoli to pass the task content to Sakura and Naruto. At Sakura's home, Sakura, lying on the sofa, listened to her mother's nagging with an unswerving face. The mother and daughter quarreled over a trivial matter. Fortunately, Xiaoli, who came to pass the message, gave Sakura an excuse to temporarily leave home and get rid of her mother's scolding. Well, it's just daily life. Naruto and Sakura, who are quite reliable during missions, are like this at home. Seeing the atmosphere between Sakura and her parents reminds me of my father, who likes to put on a bad face. He always scolds me for trivial things. Parents don't have bad intentions. They are also doing it for your own good. Who doesn't understand this truth? The key is that missions are usually very tiring. There's nothing wrong with wanting to relax completely on a day off. The view returns to Naruto. After a fierce battle, one of Naruto's shadow clones won the poker game, which made the other shadow clone quite angry. He questioned whether the other party was cheating, but was ridiculed in return. Seeing the 2 people almost quarreling, Naruto said speechlessly, "Stop quarreling, we are all me. Whose side are you on?" The losing shadow clone angrily questioned Naruto, and Naruto was even more speechless. No matter whether I win or lose, I am still me. As they talked, the 2 shadow clones even started fighting directly. Naruto had no choice but to cancel the ninjutsu, and then he immediately showed a dumbfounded expression. Huh? Did I win or lose? This funny guy. Shadow clones actually quarreled with each other. Ha, Naruto. I think he's serious about deciding who gets to eat ramen by playing poker. This kind of relationship with shadow clones is unique in the whole ninja world. I see something else. Maybe it's because he has been alone since he was a child, so Naruto has developed this ability to entertain himself. Fuck. It was quite cheerful. Scene, it makes me feel so sad when you say that. Looking at the room where he was alone again, Naruto sighed with a bored look on his face. What am I doing on my last day off? I feel so empty alone. This was heard by Xiaoli, who came to the window of Naruto's house. At this time, Team 8 and Team 10 happened to pass by downstairs. Everyone discussed going to the bathhouse to relax, so under Xiaoli's matchmaking, Naruto followed the group to the bathhouse to take a bath. 4 girls soaked in the bathhouse comfortably, chatting about family matters while relaxing. Seeing Hinata was a little embarrassed, Sakura kindly said, "Hinata, don't be shy and put your hands down. We are all girls. Relax and you will feel comfortable." Hinata tried it with a shy and embarrassed look on her face, and then her thoughts hit Sakura hard. I feel I will float. Naruto himself didn't feel anything, he just felt empty and bored, which was similar to my state at home on my day off. Now Naruto is in his youth. At this time, he should have a lot of friends, so compared to when he was a child, he should not fall into sad memories easily. Oh. Are they just showing the scene of the women's bath? Can I really watch this without paying? Boring, there's nothing substantial to see. What's so exciting about seeing a shoulder? Eyes wide open, hey, the little girl from the Hyuga family is something. She's usually wrapped up tightly, but I didn't expect her figure to be so sexy. Heretical. Heretic. Only ordinary people like Sakura are cute. What level will float up? Hinata's face flushed, her brain was instantly overloaded, and she fell into Hong's arms with smoke on her head, which scared Kiba and Shino, who were watching the sky seriously. In the library, Sakura's head was full of black lines, and her whole head hung down like an eggplant hit by frost. Tsunade, who was urging her to study, laughed unscrupulously, patted Sakura's shoulder and comforted her. It's okay. The little girl from the Hyuga family is gifted. Even if she can't grow up, she's still a genius. Sexy body, slim figure can also become a beautiful woman. But at this moment, Sakura's brain was completely occupied by breasts. She squinted at Tsunade's thick breast armor and asked like a dream, Master, I heard that you also had a flat chest when you were a child. Now you have grown up so big, have you taken any special medicine? Tsunade, who felt offended, showed a fake smile and said in a terrifying tone, what nonsense are you talking about, your master? I just developed a little late, and I was born to grow into this body. The depressed Sakura sank to the bottom. In the men's bath, Naruto and Kiba were washing their bodies while discussing Xiaoli, who had not come yet. Shino, who heard their conversation, took the opportunity to make a declaration not to exclude others, which made Kiba, who knew the inside story, very speechless. Naruto, who knew nothing, agreed with Shino's words, but he accidentally glanced at Shino's crotch, which scared Naruto so much that his face changed instantly. Wow. Shino's lower body. There are huge larvae. Kiba despised Naruto's fussing and explained seriously, he is a member of the Aburame clan, so it is normal for him to keep insects on his body. He keeps huge larvae. It seems that this Aburame Shino, who has a low sense of presence, is an amazing person. Hey. What is the standard for you to judge others as amazing? For men, having huge larvae is indeed amazing. It should be amazing for women too. Enough. Don't discuss such indecent things in this occasion. This is caused by Naruto. If there is any problem, go to him. Inuzuka Kiba from the same team is still lecturing Naruto seriously. You looked at Shino's crotch in doubt, and there was a huge larvae there. Even Shino, who is always calm, couldn't stand his gaze. He turned sideways awkwardly and said calmly, as you said, I am from the Aburame clan, and it is reasonable for me to carry a huge larvae on my body. Yura nodded heavily as if forcing himself to accept it. Yes, Naruto must have seen it wrong. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203. Ignoring Kiba's serious explanation, Naruto looked at Shino with admiration. Shino, you are a dazzling man in many ways. Naruto wanted to ask Kiba to agree, but as soon as he turned around, he saw Akamaru sneaking in with a transformation technique. The bathhouse also splashed a lot of water because of Chaji's misstep. The bathhouse suddenly became lively and Naruto couldn't help laughing. But while laughing, he suddenly remembered Sasuke, who had disappeared. I don't know what happened to that guy now. Only he has changed. Naruto. Why do you look like you have ulterior motives? Neji suddenly said, and Naruto's thoughtful look seemed to make him misunderstand. Naruto's knowledge of men and women is very fragmented. Sometimes he behaves like an old rogue, but sometimes he behaves like an ignorant teenager. Can he tell us about it? Jiraiya was also very interested in this, so he asked curiously, so what do you think? He even gestured the outline of a woman in a very frivolous way. Oh. A woman's body, Naruto showed a smug expression, hugged his hands and looked up at the sky. Do you know how many pornographic magazines I have secretly read in bookstores in order to study the art of seduction? When it comes to understanding women's bodies, even a lustful sage is not my opponent. Jiraiya was confused. This guy said such shameless words, but his expression was so serious, and there was no smell of pornography. Even he, an old driver, could not see the essence of this guy. You are a great person in every sense. Listening to the conversation between the unscrupulous master and apprentice, Temari on the side couldn't hold back her expression and subconsciously stepped away a few steps. You should think of Sasuke even when you are happy like this. Naruto, you are the one who is most obsessed with him. After all, this is the only mission that Naruto has failed so far. He must be brooding over it. Is Naruto the kind of person who gets frustrated because of a failed mission? It's obvious that he can only watch his teammates walk into the fire pit, and he himself is powerless. That's why he looks so worried when he mentions Sasuke, this last place guy. Sasuke was originally upset about Naruto's previous limelight, but now seeing this, his mood suddenly became complicated. For Sasuke, who has been alone since the age of 7, it would be comforting to have someone who always cares about him, but at the same time, Sasuke would resist himself from having this mentality, because if he wants to be an Avenger, he can't indulge in this kind of emotion. Looking at Neji, who looked suspicious, Naruto innocently said that he was just thinking about something, but Neji did not let down his guard. You are not going to do anything bad. What? Naruto still didn't know what he was talking about, so Neji pointed it out directly. It's just peeping. Naruto then noticed the sound of girls playing in the women's bath on the other side, and immediately showed an evil smile in his heart. There is such fun. So Naruto pretended to get up, avoided his side and came to the outside of the women's bath. At this time, Xiaoli passed by the roof of the bathhouse while standing on one hand, but accidentally got his clothes hooked by a nail, and the whole person lost his balance and fell into the women's locker room. HMPH, boys are so vulgar. This kind of peeping seems to have become a routine activity in hot springs and bathhouses. Naruto is also a bad boy. I thought you really didn't understand anything about men and women. You know, but peeping is peeping. The two can't be confused, and there are people who use peeping as material. Although Neji seems to be very serious, why do I feel that he seems to know more than Naruto? You see, Naruto only thought of this after being reminded by him. To be honest, do the people of the Hyuga family need to peep? They're all watching openly, okay? Really? You guys are saying this about a legitimate bloodline limit. The ability is legitimate, but it would be terrible if the person using it is not legitimate. Can't the Hyuga family produce a few illegitimate members? Enough. We are a famous family in Konoha, don't throw this kind of dirty water on us. Then let's discuss why Neji knows so much. Neji, who had suffered an unexpected disaster, was full of black lines on his head. Why did he become a suspect while taking a hot spring bath? Isn't the focused Naruto who is ready to take action? Don't worry, Neji, although your Byakugan has the ability to see through things, although you can see the bathhouses and hot springs of Konoha at home, we absolutely believe that you are not the kind of pervert who would peek at girls bathing. Little Lee gave Neji a thumbs up and said to him with trust in his eyes. Nixie's face darkened after hearing Little Lee's support for him. Why does it sound a little wrong? Temari's expression became even more disgusted. She squinted at Naruto and made a ruthless voice, low level. Oh, this is not. Because it was the pot brought by his future self, Naruto didn't know whether he should admit the accusation for a while, and stammered and didn't know how to answer. At this time, Jiraiya on the side was still adding fuel to the fire. He came to Naruto and praised him in a low voice. You are worthy of being my disciple. It seems that you can learn my real skills in the future. Who wants to learn this kind of thing, you old pervert? The huge impact swept away the clothes in the locker room. A light pink bra happened to catch the towel around Naruto's waist, but Naruto, who was attracted by the commotion in front of him, did not notice it. The screams of the girls also attracted the attention of everyone in the men's bath. Everyone hurried to the entrance of the women's bath. As soon as they entered, they saw the girls grabbing Xiaoli's collar and denouncing him. Xiaoli, who was quite wronged, looked at his companions who came in helplessly with tears in his eyes, and then suddenly broke free from Ino's hand and rushed out. The girls naturally would not give up and chased after him. Seeing this, the boys followed behind. Only Naruto remembered that Xiaoli organized this event to make him less bored. He believed that he was not the kind of person who would do such a thing, So he chased after him with the mentality of explaining for him. Does Naruto have the ability to make things bigger? So much trouble can be caused by taking a hot spring bath. Maybe he has some kind of ability to track disasters, which can explain why he always receives tasks that are far beyond the task level. Zioli. Although you feel wronged, it's hard for people to believe you in this situation. I think just by looking at his appearance, I know Zioli is not someone who would do such a thing. This guy with thick eyebrows and big eyes looks so serious. That's right, you shouldn't even suspect Zioli if you suspect Neji. After all, Neji has very convenient tools to commit crimes. Why do I hear such envious voices? Chapter 204. Too much, except for Naruto-kun. Everyone else is actually doubting me. Zioli complained with a face full of grief and anger, which made Ningsi, who is inexplicably suspected of peeping, couldn't help but curl up his mouth and said with a gloating tone, "Who made you fall into the locker room by such a coincidence?" Well, although it was a misunderstanding, you are also wrong, Lee. Why did you go to the bathhouse when you can't train anywhere? Shianchin said very fairly, and then comforted Zioli. But it doesn't matter, since Naruto believes in you, he will definitely convince everyone. Nixie's expression was a little strange, and he said hesitantly, "Are you sure? Didn't you see the bra hanging on his butt? I think he will be beaten with Zioli." Zioli was stopped by everyone on the side of the road. Although he repeatedly explained that it was a misunderstanding, I know, who was angry, didn't care and wanted to beat him up first. At this time, Naruto appeared in time to block Zioli. Wait? Thick eyebrows is not that kind of person. He is her partner. Since he said he didn't do it, then he didn't do it. Everyone should believe him. Naruto's deafening speech calmed everyone down, but Zioli looked at the bra hanging behind Naruto's buttocks with a look of seeing a ghost. We should be more tolerant. Naruto turned around and stretched out his hand to Zioli without noticing, and the thing behind his buttocks was exposed at once. Ha ha ha, I knew this thing would cause trouble. Are you so careless in your daily life? If it's on the battlefield, it's a detonating tag. Enough of you warmongers. You always bring this up. Can't you relax on your day off? Even if you didn't find it, at most Naruto will get beaten up. It's not me anyway, ha ha ha, Naruto, although you sound righteous, Zioli might suspect you in return. Don't you have anyone in Konoha who cares about hanging that kind of thing in the streets? Sakura naturally recognized her bra at first sight, and everyone except her immediately showed an embarrassed expression. She was covered in black hair, gritted her teeth and pressed her fist, and then punched Naruto, who looked ignorant, and flew out. It was evening. Naruto returned home and simply applied medicine on his face, muttering to himself in an indignant tone, "I just wanted to peek, and it was an unsuccessful attempt." After summarizing his miserable experience of the day, Naruto regretted it a little. If he had known, he would not have gone to play with him. He said it seriously, but when the boys from Kiba knocked on his door and said they wanted to come over to play, Naruto couldn't help but smile. It's really not a surprising development. No, what do you mean it's just an unsuccessful attempt to peek? Good children can't do such bad things. It's okay to joke with friends, but you can't do anything too extreme. Have you noticed that there seem to be some remarks with a wrong tone recently? I somehow saw my mother coaxing a child. It can't be that Naruto's experience attracted a lot of people with overflowing maternal instincts. You're right. Look, I can show some concern for such a good kid, right? Don't you think Naruto is pitiful without his family? Look at how happy he is when he sees his friends coming to visit. Because I can see the shadow of my son in Naruto, so. It's terrible. Naruto can directly summon the mothers of his enemies to deal with them in the future. Why did so many people suddenly appear, and say embarrassing things? Naruto swayed his body with an awkward look on his face, with a look of desire and rejection in his eyes. Everyone was welcomed into the house to play together. Even a simple poker game made this originally cold home lively. However, the joy always ends. Everyone finished their game before dinner. Naruto sent his friends away and returned to his home where he was alone. Maybe I had too much fun today. I feel the room is much emptier than usual. It would be nice if everyone could finish dinner before leaving. At the dining table, Naruto looked at the instant noodles in front of him dejectedly, not knowing that his words and deeds had already fallen into the eyes of some people with ulterior motives. Uzumaki Naruto. I have seen through your heart, and I know what you want. The masked man raised the crystal head in his hand, and under the red moon, 10 figures wearing Akatsuki robes appeared on the screen. Come on. Limited Tsukuyomi Begins. I was wondering what this story has to do with the keywords, but it turns out to be here. The more lively and happy it is in front, the more lonely Naruto's home seems here. Hey. What did I see? A big melon popped up in the end. Oh my god, 10 members of the Akatsuki organization were exposed at once, and the intelligence departments of various countries must be so happy. Isn't this Uchiha Itachi in the front? He actually joined the Akatsuki organization. The one with the masked face is the famous bounty hunter Kokuzu, who has been famous for a long time. I say, your Akatsuki organization is not a celebrity boy group, right? Except for a few weird ones, the rest are all handsome men and beautiful women. These guys want to catch me and Gaara. Naruto stared at the sky seriously, not knowing that Jiraiya was so shocked that he couldn't speak. That's Konan. And the one next to her, although slightly different, isn't it Chihiko? As a follower of the Kazekage, Chiyo, who was rushing to Konoha, looked at the sky and murmured, "Scorpion, so young, could it be that you?" Sasuke stared at Uchiha Itachi with wide eyes. He was still very entangled just now, but he immediately confirmed his true intention. Sure enough, I have to kill you, Uchiha Itachi. As a spy, Itachi didn't have much emotion about the appearance of all members of the Akatsuki organization, or he hoped so, but he was standing at the highest point and was obviously in a leadership position. The masked man with a high status had a lot of ideas. Has Akatsuki been controlled by that guy? As the leader, Nagato had the same idea, but he really couldn't think of what bargaining chip such a Madara could give to make him hand over the leadership of Akatsuki to him. Just when everyone thought that the next step was to reveal what the limited Tsukuyomi ninjutsu was, the sky curtain suddenly ended and began to select the keywords for the next issue. Start extracting keywords for the next issue. Keywords extracted based on the speeches in this issue, randomly selected, confirmed. Keywords for the next issue, Brothers, Chapter 205. After the fifth viewing, the lives of the general public in the ninja world have returned to their usual rhythm, but for the intelligence departments of each ninja village, the next is actually their busiest time. The fifth sky curtain revealed not much content, the most important of which is undoubtedly the members of the Akatsuki organization who all appeared. According to the comparison with the information collected in the past, the countries have now confirmed the identities of 6 of them. Konoha S-level rebel ninja Uchiha Itachi, Mist Village S-level rebel ninja Hoshigaki Kisame, Iwagakure S-level rebel ninja Deidara, Sand Village S-level rebel ninja Red Sand Scorpion, as well as the famous bounty hunter Kokuzu and the madman Fieden of the evil god cult. To be honest, after investigating the deeds of these people, the top leaders of each village were more or less shocked. Judging from their previous records, each of these 6 people can be comparable to the shadows of the 5 major ninja villages, not to mention that there are 4 people whose real identities have not been investigated, but who are obviously higher in status. Based on this survey result, each village increased its attention to the Akatsuki organization, but became more cautious in action, fearing that these people would bring huge losses to the village. In addition to the information about the Akatsuki organization, the only valuable thing left was the chakra armor of the Snow Country. Although the unspoken rule that ninjas cannot interfere in the internal affairs of a country prevented each village from going to the Snow Country for investigation, it was still okay to send a small-scale team to collect intelligence. Anyway, Fengho and Nuteo was quite nervous and tangled at the moment, not knowing whether to abandon the mess of the Snow Country, because he knew that Fengho's Iaxu would never give up the idea of taking back the Snow Country. The situation was indeed the same as he thought. Fengho's Iaxu arrived in Konoha 3 days later and put forward a formal commission to restore the country. Because of the sky curtain, Fengho's Iaxu carried a certain appointed label in becoming the name of the Snow Country. Konoha naturally did not worry about being accused of interfering in other countries' internal affairs by other ninja villages after passing her commission. The only point that has not been agreed on in the mission is whether to let Team 7 take this mission. Previously, because of concerns about Naruto's safety, Sarutobi Hiruzen specially arranged a mission with a short distance and clear content for him. But after seeing Naruto's future achievements, everyone understands that this kind of growth path with everything arranged is not conducive to Naruto's development. Apart from anything else, a ninja who has not experienced a life and death crisis will never mature. Therefore, after sufficient consideration, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally agreed to let Team 7 take on the mission of Fengho's Iaxu returning to the Snow Country. Of course, someone will definitely be sent to protect her in secret. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen also put forward some conditions to the client, hoping to wait until the end of the Chunin exam before starting the mission. It happened that the crew's publicity work in the Fire Country had not been completed, so there was no reason not to agree. With the 5-cage talks approaching, Konoha has been quite lively recently. Because there was a rumor that the Chunin exam would be held after the 5-cage talks, the Jinan who planned to take the exam were training overtime, and Ziokiang was no exception. That evening, Sasuke, who had just finished a day of training, bought some katsuobushi rice balls and tomatoes on his way home. Even in this free time, Sasuke's expression was not relaxed at this time. It was because of Uchiha Itachi, who appeared at the end of the Sky Curtain a few days ago, that he was always unable to maintain a stable mood, and even the training effect of the past few days was reduced. Now Sasuke's mind is full of how to gain strength, and he has even considered whether to join Orochimaru more than once. Although my strength is steadily improving under Kakashi's training, I don't know how long it will take to grow to the point where I can defeat that man. Thinking of this, Sasuke clenched his fist unwillingly. He is not a person like Naruto who is born with abundant chakra, so it is difficult for his strength to be improved by leaps and bounds if he follows the routine. Of course, he is much stronger than ordinary ninjas. At least every increase in his pupil power will drive the growth of his own chakra. Therefore, Sasuke believes that if he is the same age as Kakashi, his chakra will definitely be much stronger than his chakra unit. No matter how much he can grow in the future, Sasuke, who is now constantly burned by the flames of hatred, really wants to have the power to kill Uchiha Itachi immediately, and it is acceptable to pay some price for this, so Sasuke aimed at various special powers, abilities and equipment exposed by the sky. During this period, the Sage Mode and Tailed Beast power used by Naruto in the future were naturally seen by Sasuke, but based on some kind of rejection and confrontation, Sasuke rejected them at the first time. At the same time, he also abandoned the power of the Mangekyo that Uchiha Itachi had mentioned to him. Sasuke would never obey his arrangement, even if doing so could really gain the power to fight Itachi. So after some information search and research and comparison, Sasuke found that the most cost-effective one was actually Orochimaru's curse seal, so it was not surprising that he would have the idea of joining Orochimaru. If I join Orochimaru now, I will completely put my life in his hands. Because of the Sky Curtain, Orochimaru is likely to take my body as soon as we meet. Although I can use this as a bargaining chip to let him kill Itachi, I still want to do it myself if I can. To be honest, Sasuke's growth rate is actually very amazing. Even if Naruto is working hard enough now, Sasuke's winning rate is still higher if the two really fight. The bad thing is that the future revealed by the Sky Curtain is mostly based on Naruto's perspective, and the strength he shows refreshes Sasuke's cognition again and again. How can this not make Sasuke feel anxious? With his thoughts in a mess, Sasuke walked to an empty street with an expressionless face. Suddenly, he frowned and turned his head to look at a big tree on the side of the road. Who? A figure of about the same height as Sasuke, wearing an animal mask and a waist-bearing top, walked out from behind the tree without any disguise, and said to Sasuke in a flat tone, "Uchiha Sasuke, Danzo wants to see you, please follow me." That mask, is it from the Anbu? Sasuke stared at the other party for a moment, and after feeling the hidden hostility from the other party, he smiled coldly. "I don't know who Danzo is, but you said please. I don't see that you have such sincerity. And, before, the Sandaime specifically told me that in the recent period, except for his and Kakashi's instructions, all other people who conveyed orders to me can be regarded as enemies." Chapter 206. After saying this, Sasuke drew out his kunai without warning and shot at the person in front of him. At the same time, he stepped on his feet and quickly retreated to escape from the area he was in. After all, Sasuke had been training for a whole day. After consuming a lot of physical strength and chakra, he was not suitable to fight with unknown enemies. It was better to escape quickly and make some noise to get help. The enemy behind him was a step slower because of the kunai attack. However, in front of Sasuke's escape route, a group of twisted insects like mist attacked him. Fortunately, Sasuke had already prepared for more than one enemy. Facing the oncoming attack, he quickly formed a seal and performed the great fireball technique to burn the attacking insects. Then he extracted the few chakras and prepared to use Chidori to break through the enemy's blockade, but suddenly found that his body could not move. What? Sasuke's face changed slightly, and soon found that the shadow under his feet had changed into an abnormal shape and extended to the wall on the right side of his body. where a person wearing a mask and a pineapple head was squatting. A sound of a cane hitting the ground came from the front. Sasuke looked closely and saw an old man wearing a black and gray kimono and with a somewhat eerie aura, walking out from the shadows of the intersection in front of him, surrounded by two other masked people. The two people who had talked to him at the beginning and controlled him with a shadow mimicry technique also surrounded him, but it was obvious that the old man who showed his face was the one in charge, so Sasuke naturally focused all his attention on him. Walking slowly to Sasuke, Danzo looked deeply into Sasuke's bright red pupil with his uncovered left eye, and said in a low voice, "What a fascinating and corrupting power. Take it away." As soon as the order was issued, a familiar and annoying voice came from behind Danzo. "Danzo, I should have told you not to move in the near future. Why are you here, and what do you want to do to Sasuke?" Standing still for a moment, Danzo slowly turned around and looked behind him, and the first thing he saw was Sarutobi Hiruzen wearing a shadow robe and with a serious expression. Looking at this annoying outfit, Danzo took a deep breath, suppressed his emotions, and said slowly, "Hiruzen, you should know that this kid is the key to controlling Itachi." Danzo pointed to the sky that was not very clear because of the darkening night, and his expression became increasingly ugly. Since that thing appeared in the sky, Konoha's secrets may be exposed at any time. So in order to better control this situation, and to make Uchiha Itachi always remember his role, Uchiha Sasuke must be more closely guarded. "Danzo, you still didn't answer me. Why are you here?" Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression was still serious and even a little indifferent, and seeing such an old friend who was getting to the bottom of things, Danzo's anger rose slightly, and his voice rose a little. "This is necessary." Alice. Seeing that he was still planning to continue to be cunning, Danzo, who was arguing, sighed in disappointment, interrupted him and said, "Danzo, we have known each other for decades. Just like you know my personality and habits very well, do you think I don't know what kind of person you are? You do have the intention to control Itachi through Sasuke, but the more critical target is still Naruto." Sarutobi Hiruzen said something that made Danzo's face change drastically. The witch of the demon country, the Greater Mine and Timsy, the 11 Jonin who are closely related to Naruto, Gaara of Sand Village, and even Orochimaru. Since the appearance of the Sky Curtain, the actions of the Root have become more and more frequent. "What do you want?" Danzo's expression was very bad. Has this damn old monkey changed his nature? He could just ignore the assassination before, but now he actually told him what he did without reservation. Almost at the moment when Danzo realized that something was wrong, a large number of Anbu suddenly appeared in the four directions of front, back, left, and right, surrounding him and his four men tightly. "I've thought about it for a long time, and I've given you chances again and again, but you've been getting worse and worse, so I think we can't make the same mistake anymore. Let's correct it tonight, Uchiha, Naruto." Sarutobi Hiruzen tore off his shadow robe to reveal the battle outfit underneath. Looking at the old monkey who seemed to be serious, Danzo's face was so gloomy that water could drip out. "Mistake. Correct. Hiruzen, do you want to destroy Konoha?" If it was before, I might worry about this, but I'm different from you. Since the Sky Curtain appeared, I've seen greater possibilities for Konoha. I believe that after the disappearance of except for the rotten roots and branches, the big tree of Konoha will grow more luxuriantly. Sarutobi Hiruzen's wrinkled face showed a high-spirited smile. "It's been a long time since I felt so happy. It reminds me of the days when I fought under Lord Tobirama before I became Hokage. Okay, hand over Sasuke now. I have let down the Uchiha once, and I can't let down the rest of the Uchiha. In exchange, let's go to the number 45 training ground and let the two old guys have a long-awaited contest." Looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was in a fighting posture, as if he was ready to let the surrounding Anbu rush in if he didn't agree, Danzo was so angry. But before he opened his mouth, Sasuke, who had been keeping quiet since Sarutobi Hiruzen appeared, suddenly interrupted and said, "What were you talking about just now?" The atmosphere suddenly became cold, but Sasuke didn't care about that. He stared at the two old men in front of him and roared loudly, "What do you know about Itachi? What do you mean I am the key to control Itachi? Sandame, how did you let down Uchiha?" Seeing that Sasuke's spirit was greatly stimulated, but the most urgent task was to deal with Danzo first, so Sarutobi Hiruzen said to him with a little apology, "I'm sorry Sasuke, I have to settle with Danzo first, but I promise you that after the matter is settled, I will tell you the truth in detail, whether it is the truth of Uchiha's genocide or the truth of Itachi." Without waiting for Sasuke's response, Sarutobi Hiruzen disappeared in a flash. Danzo knew that tonight's incident would not end well, so he followed Sarutobi Hiruzen's steps under the vague siege of several Anbu. The four members of the route looked at each other, not knowing what to do next. Danzo didn't give them any orders. However, the Anbu around them didn't show them any mercy. They disarmed them in a few moves, and then knocked out Sasuke, who was about to chase to the number 45 training ground to ask for clarification. Under the instructions of the leader, they returned to the base. Chapter 207. There were no witnesses to the battle between the third Hokage and Danzo. All we know is that both of them ended up with injuries. The third Hokage was even more seriously injured. After emergency treatment, he is still unconscious in the hospital. Danzo, who was also seriously injured but not life-threatening, was thrown into prison after a simple treatment and awaited follow-up treatment. The third Hokage had already conveyed all the follow-up arrangements. Before the sun rose the next day, the bases of the route had been completely conquered by the Anbu, and Tsunade took over the position of Hokage, although she looked quite reluctant. Because the third Hokage had notified and contacted in advance, and the high-level officials of the various clans in Konoha had long been suffering from Danzo, and there was also the appointment of Shianmu, so Tsunade's becoming the acting Hokage did not cause much trouble. 3 days passed like this, and Tsunade, who was familiar with the work of Hokage and was busy and exhausted, received the notice that the fourth Kazekage had arrived in Konoha. As the Kage of a village, it was not a loss of face for Tsunade, the acting Hokage, to come out and greet him. By the way, she also brought Temari and her 3 brothers and sisters who had been wandering around Konoha recently. She would never say that she wanted to be lazy and watch the other party's fun. At the gate of Konoha village, Izumo and Kotetsu stood behind Tsunade's guards, while Gaara and the other 2 were one step behind, looking at Raza, who was walking towards them with complicated expressions. Although only more than a month had passed, for Gaara, those days of anxiety seemed to have happened a long time ago. Although he still hated his father in front of him, he was more confused and at a loss at this time. Luosha, accompanied by Chiao and Maki, walked up to the group and stopped. He politely greeted Tsunade. "Thank you for your welcome, Princess Tsunade." "No. Lord Kazekage, you are tired from the journey. The village has arranged a place for you to stay. Someone will take you there later. However, there are a lot of people in the village recently, so please try not to walk around before the 5-Kage summit begins. Lord Kazekage, please forgive me for any inconvenience." Tsunade also responded in a formal manner. Her serious look made Chiao behind Luosha couldn't help but let out a hoarse laugh. When did the heroic Tsunade-sama become so old-fashioned? She is almost as old-fashioned as me. Tsunade was very unhappy with Chiao's teasing, but she suppressed her temper and put on a stiff smile. "Haha, I can't help it. I am now the acting Hokage, so I have to maintain the image of Konoha. But you, Chiao, should take care of your health. You are old and it will be very painful if you catch a cold." "Haha, I am in good health." Chiao was disdainful of arguing with Tsunade, and changed the subject and asked, "You are the acting Hokage now? Is Sarutobi Hiruzen so anxious to abdicate?" "Ah, the old man is old after all, and we, the younger generation, naturally have to share his worries." Tsunade would certainly not tell the other party the true situation of the third Hokage. Anyway, under the influence of Shianmu, everyone basically assumed that she was the 5th Hokage, and it was reasonable for the 3rd Hokage to abdicate and let her take over. Not to mention the 2 old women who chatted as if no one was around. After greeting Tsunade, Luosha looked at Gaara. Unlike Gaara, there was no emotion in Luosha's eyes. At least in Gaara's opinion, it was similar to the way he looked at him in the past. Thinking of this, Gaara's expression turned slightly cold, and the sand in the gourd behind him was ready to move. Luosha had already been mentally prepared for Gaara's hidden hostility. From the beginning, he did not expect Gaara to forgive him after seeing the sky curtain. The current development was within his expectations. So Luosha looked at Tsunade and interrupted her conversation with Chiao. "I'm sorry, Princess Tsunade, can you help us arrange a battle site before we check in? I want to take care of my housework first." "Well, that's no problem. The number 39 training ground is now empty." Tsunade would naturally not refuse. It's better to say that this is why she brought Gaara and the others to welcome Luosha. "It's just fun to watch, but some things still need to be controlled. I will arrange people to prevent others from disturbing you, but please control the scale of the battle." Rosa would pay attention to this without Tsunade's reminder. After all, he didn't really want to do anything to Gaara. He just wanted to let Gaara vent his resentment and pressure through fighting. He didn't ask for a normal father-son relationship, but just wanted to use this as an opportunity to make Gaara willing to accept his guidance and become the guidance of the Kazekage. Is it okay with my arrangement? If you want to seek justice for your mother, Yoshamaru, and yourself, get it through fighting. Leosha had a blank expression solid to Gaara. Hearing this, Gaara smiled coldly. It's really unprecedented that you would ask for my opinion, but it doesn't matter. I'm looking forward to this battle. The battle between the father and son is needless to say. Without releasing Shukaku, Gaara could not be a match for Raza, and it would even be difficult to hurt him. However, Temari and Kankuro found that Gaara seemed to be in a much better mood after their battle. The cages of several other ninja villages also arrived in a few days. Finally, the 5-cage talks that had been planned for a long time officially began on this day. In the spacious meeting room, the cages of each ninja village took up a position and formed a circle. While everyone else was still thinking about the opening remarks, the impatient 4th Raikage spoke first. Okay, no need to waste time, we all know why we are gathered here, let's get straight to the point. Calm down, Lord Raikage. We have a lot to discuss in this 5-cage meeting. There is no need to be so anxious. Anoki mocked without showing his expression, and then said slowly, everything has its priorities. Whether it is the ghost, Grayer, or the box of bliss, or the ninja world war that is closely related to the entire ninja world, it is not as good as the sky that exposes all of this, so I think. Before Anoki finished speaking, the sky that had been silent suddenly lit up. Everyone naturally understood what this phenomenon was, so Anoki stopped talking and shook his head. It seems that the talks have to be suspended for the time being. I wonder what the sky curtain will reveal to us today. Chapter 208. In a dark cave, Sasuke, wearing a black cloak, walked in expressionlessly. As soon as he turned a corner, he heard a low voice from a shadow not far in front of him. You are here. Who? Sasuke asked calmly, and then the shadow revealed his true face. It was the man he wanted to kill, Uchiha Itachi. Sasuke's heart skipped a beat, and his eyes widened instantly. His Sharingan also showed signs of stress. The two brothers looked at each other for a moment, and then Itachi started the topic, you have grown a little taller. But Sasuke had no intention of chatting with him. Seeing this, Itachi mocked him without any politeness, why don't you yell and rush over like before? Oh, without a forward protector, this is the young Sasuke, today it's finally his turn to play the role. It was like this at the beginning. Is it exciting? Is Sasuke going to start revenge? I hate this kind of story without a pre-synopsis. I have no idea what's going on. Some people really watch Shinmu as a movie. At this time, collecting intelligence is the key. Even if you don't collect intelligence, it's quite exciting to watch two handsome guys fighting. Although these two brothers are cold, they both meet my aesthetic standards. In the past few days, Sasuke, who was temporarily under house arrest, had already calmed down, but he didn't expect Shinmu to suddenly do this. Itachi is the next, my revenge. Sasuke looked at Shinmu excitedly, and even couldn't help opening his Sharingan, wanting to see the next battle more clearly. Itachi, who was resting, was also paying attention to the progress of Shinmu. If the next content was just Sasuke killing him and successfully taking revenge, it wouldn't matter, but if Shinmu exposed the inside story, then he would have to change his plan. This was something Itachi decided early after Shinmu appeared, so that he wouldn't panic when the time came. Humph, you really don't know me at all. Sasuke didn't care about being taken advantage of verbally, and suddenly moved to Itachi's back, and then Ichidori's sharp spear pierced Itachi's chest directly, lifting him up high, and said in a cold tone, the deeper my hatred for you is, the stronger it will make me. You know nothing about me. After speaking, Sasuke changed his momentum, and nearly 10 lightning spears pierced through Itachi's body, and then Sasuke released the ninjutsu and made him fall from the air. You've become stronger. Itachi, who was lying on the ground, said calmly. He looked at Sasuke deeply and suddenly turned into dozens of crows, leaving only a voice echoing in the cave, come to the Uchiha base alone and end it there. You scared me. I thought Uchiha Itachi was killed in an instant. You can tell it's impossible even if you think about it. If Uchiha Itachi was only at this level, he would still be able to walk in the ninja world now. Sasuke should know it, but he still came to seek revenge on Uchiha Itachi, so does that mean he has the confidence to succeed? His strength improvement is comparable to Naruto's. I'm more curious why Orochimaru didn't take Sasuke's body. He has been raising it for several years. Sasuke didn't run away after learning skills from Orochimaru. If that's the case, Orochimaru will be embarrassed. The duck in the mouth can still fly away. On the top of a circular low mountain, there is a ruin where the Uchiha clan once lived. In a hall in the ruins, Uchiha Itachi sat on a dilapidated stone chair and waited for Sasuke's arrival. How far can your Sharingan see? Step by step towards the target, Sasuke stood below Itachi, looked up at him and said coldly, "How far can it see? Now my Sharingan can see. Itachi, the way you look when I kill you. The way I look when I'm killed." Then, Itachi closed his eyes and pondered for a moment, then suddenly appeared beside Sasuke without any warning. "Show it." Tisk, how can this Uchiha Itachi talk so pretentiously? It's unpleasant to watch. It's so sour, you can't stand seeing him so handsome. I say. Can you two brothers have some normal conversations? Isn't it tiring? Or do all the Uchiha clan talk like this? Isn't this just a very routine part of threatening words before the battle, but they just say it in a more literary way? Maybe they have the burden of being handsome guys. They can't just say "Gwa. I'll blast you apart." Such strong quotes. Ha ha ha, if these two cold-faced men are willing to ignore their image and curse at each other, I will definitely record it and watch it 10 times a day. Sasuke chuckled confidently, and then the two brothers turned around and swung their arms at the same time. Itachi, holding a kunai, stabbed Sasuke around his arm, and Sasuke calmly drew out the Kusanagi sword to block the attack. Then there was a physical contest between you and me, and in the end Sasuke was slightly inferior and was thrown out by Itachi. Sasuke was not discouraged after the setback in the first battle. He quickly stabilized his body and used the Chidori, then rushed towards Itachi, but when Itachi thought he was going to launch a close-range attack, he suddenly squatted and pressed the ground, and the Chidori instantly turned into the Chidori flow, and the electric current attacked the opponent along the ground. Itachi subconsciously jumped up, but Sasuke was waiting for this opportunity. Almost in an instant, he rushed in front of Itachi and stabbed the Kusanagi sword into Itachi's chest with a grin. I don't know if it's an illusion, it's just an ordinary physical battle. Why does it look so good? Yes, it's inexplicably pleasing to the eye. Because their movements are very concise, there are almost no redundant movements, so the whole set of movements looks so smooth and beautiful. Sasuke and Naruto are the same, they learned other people's moves and played a lot of tricks. Sasuke won't be stronger than Kakashi at this time. Oh, no, Uchiha Itachi is actually at a disadvantage. To be honest, Uchiha Itachi is indeed very strong, but this level should not be enough to destroy the entire Uchiha clan. The battle has just begun, why are you so anxious? Sasuke clenched his fists excitedly, and his expression was synchronized with his own ferocious smile on the sky. That's it, kill that guy and complete my revenge. Chapter 209. Sasuke used the weight of his body to pierce Itachi to the ground. However, even though his chest was pierced, Itachi's eyes remained calm. He looked at Sasuke and said softly, "You have become stronger. Itachi, I have one last thing to ask you." Sasuke said coldly while holding the Kusanagi sword tightly. Itachi did not respond, but just stretched out his index and middle fingers towards Sasuke's face, then turned his wrist and pointed to the left. Sasuke immediately followed Itachi's instructions and immediately found that there was still an Uchiha Itachi sitting on the stone chair before, and even his posture had not changed. As for the one who was pierced through the chest by him, he turned into dozens of crows and dissipated again. Sasuke seemed not surprised by the scene. He stood up slowly and recalled what Itachi had said to him before, exactly the same words and crows as before. Is this the illusion farce you are best at? Fuck, when Uchiha Itachi pointed at his real body, my heartbeat stopped for a second. What is this? A clone or an illusion? An illusion. If it is a clone, Sasuke can't fail to notice Itachi's real body. Damn, if Uchiha Itachi didn't point it out, who would know that this is an illusion? It's too much realistic, isn't it? This is the person who brings out the power of Uchiha. The scene can be said to be the smallest, but the technical content is extremely high. It is completely different from Naruto's big and bold battle. Why do I see? Sasuke doesn't seem surprised at all. Could he have seen it? This kind of thing is worth making a fuss about. If Sasuke doesn't even have the ability to see through the opponent's illusion, how can he be so confident to come for revenge? Sasuke looked at the sky nervously, and his forehead was covered with cold sweat. Sasuke, who only has 2 Magatama Sharingan, didn't realize that what happened just now was just Itachi's illusion. Fortunately, he has 3 Magatama in the sky, so he can see through the opponent's illusion, and he seems to be at ease. This makes the possibility of revenge a little greater. It's just, the Mangekyo, the illusion of the 3 Magatama can be easily seen through, but if it's the illusion of the Mangekyo, Sasuke racked his brains to think for his future self, but after all, this is just the beginning, and he doesn't know what kind of power his future self will have, so naturally he can't think for himself. Forget it, since the current me can think of this, the future me will definitely think of it too. I just need to learn from his experience and become stronger than him. What do you want to know? Although this is not the last question, just ask, Itachi said expressionlessly, but Sasuke was quite disgusted with his attitude of having everything under control, and his eyes suddenly became sharp. I repeated again. As soon as the voice fell, a blood-stained Kusanagi sword instantly pierced Itachi's chest again from behind the stone chair. This development seemed to be beyond Itachi's expectations. He opened his eyes wide and looked at Sasuke, who turned into a white snake and dissipated not far away. At the same time, Sasuke's murderous mocking voice came from behind him. Finally, I have something to ask you. This is what I said, idiot. Answer my question. The pain in your chest will continue before your answer. Sasuke moved the knife in his hand to threaten Itachi, and then reminded, you said at that time. Oh, Sasuke not only saw through Itachi's illusion, but also cast an illusion on him in return. Damn, it's really scary to watch these two brothers fight. All kinds of attacks are happened without any sign. This should be the battle with the highest level of illusion that Shinmu has ever displayed so far. Where do you put the second generation of Mizukage's Mirage? That move stumped an entire team of ninjas, and it took the combined efforts of 2 shadows to break it. How should I put it? Although they are both illusions, they develop in different directions. I just feel that Uchiha's is more powerful. Sasuke's illusion body turned into a snake, and he really came back from Orochimaru after learning from him. Humph, he is far inferior to Orochimaru, and he doesn't look perverted enough. He went there to learn skills, not to learn perversion. Then the question arises again, how did Sasuke escape from Orochimaru's clutches? Orochimaru was also confused about this. It stands to reason that Sasuke has been trained to the point where he thinks he can fight Itachi. In his opinion, such a delicacy has been cooked, so he would not let it go. According to his own personality, he imagined his own actions, and then Orochimaru combined the content related to him in the previous few sky curtains and roughly pieced together the reasons. After changing his body, did the sequelae break out? Perhaps it was also due to the injuries of the third generation taking away his arms, and the Sharingan had a bonus in terms of spirit. Really good, Uchiha's brat. Licking his tongue, Orochimaru looked at the sky with interest, not caring at all about the fact that he might fail in the future. After all, he was much more prepared than others imagined, and if nothing unexpected happened, the Uchiha brat would have a backup plan left by him. Let me see how you struggle, Sasuke. The scene changes. Itachi in Anbu attire appears on the sky, with a sickly but expectant smile on his face, and says to the young Sasuke in front of him, as long as you open your eyes, there will be 3 people, including me, who can use the Mangekyo Sharingan. In this way, there is a meaning for you to live. The memory ends. Sasuke squats behind the stone chair with the knife against his back, and asks in an imperative manner, who is the third person? The one with the Sharingan, the one from the Uchiha clan. Why do you care about that kind of thing? Itachi asked back, and Sasuke said without hiding anything, in order to kill you can kill that guy later. Mangekyo, Sharingan. A new thing has appeared again. Is it Uchiha this time? Although I don't know what the Mangekyo Sharingan is, according to common sense, it should be a Sharingan stronger than the 3 Magatama Sharingan. The currently known Sharingan has the abilities of insight, copying and illusion, so what other abilities will the so-called Mangekyo have? From what Itachi said, this should also be a very special eye in the Uchiha clan. Maybe that's why there is no relevant information. So now the information is delivered to your door, why don't you remember it quickly? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210. It's a pity that the value is greatly reduced now, because there are only a few Uchiha left in the ninja world, too. Hey, Uchiha Itachi said there were 3. Are there other Uchiha in the ninja world? After all, this clan has been famous in the ninja world since the Warring States period. It's normal for some clan members to be stranded outside. Sasuke seems crazy. Now he even wants to kill the 3rd Uchiha. Do you want to be the only Uchiha so much? There must be a reason. You will know when you read on. Then Sasuke expressed his thoughts. When you exterminated the clan, you said there was another person. From the point of view that you didn't kill him, he should be your accomplice. Because even if it was you, it's impossible for you to kill all the police force by yourself. After that, Sasuke continued to interrogate him, and Itachi also did not hide it and bluntly said that person's name, Uchiha Madara. When Sasuke heard this name, he remembered that the Nine Tails had mentioned this name to him before, and Itachi introduced it simply as if he was worried that Sasuke didn't know him. He is one of the founders of Konoha and the first man to master the Mangekyou Sharingan. It was 2 Uchiha who wiped out the Uchiha clan. Although it is also exaggerated, it is at least more reliable than Uchiha Itachi killing everyone alone. Before, I didn't believe that Uchiha Itachi killed the entire clan alone, even if he had some kind of Mangekyou Sharingan. It turns out that he had helpers. Since there is a second person, it is reasonable to have a 3rd and 4th person. Anyway, I don't believe that Konoha is completely unaware of this matter. Sasuke looked at the various comments with a cold face. As for the 3rd Uchiha, he naturally confirmed his existence a long time ago. Konoha played an ignominious role in this matter, which can be seen from the conversation between the 3rd generation and that Danzo a few days ago. To be honest, if he didn't have a little confidence in the 3rd Hokage and a little attachment to Naruto's companions, Sasuke didn't know what he would do. Anyway, he would definitely not stay here and wait for the 3rd Hokage to tell him the truth. Fortunately, today's curtain revealed this part of the content, and Sasuke naturally devoted all his attention. Although there may not be the inside story of genocide, at least he can see how he can take revenge. Oh, the 3rd person's name is Uchiha Madara. Why does it seem a little familiar? Uchiha Madara? Uchiha Madara. What? Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara, the Shura of the ninja world who is as famous as the 1st Hokage, Senju Hoshirama. Hey. What do you want to do by bringing up that old character? Do you want to scare Sasuke away with this name? The 1st Hokage came out for a stroll after being resurrected by the impure world reincarnation. A circle. Now it's Uchiha Madara's turn, right? If you want to make up a story, you better make it more reliable. You know what? If it was Uchiha Madara, it would be very normal for him and Itachi to kill all the Uchiha clan. Can the Uchiha people still resist their ancestors? The 3rd Hokage wanted to tease Tsunade when he saw Sasuke mention the 3rd Uchiha, but he never expected to hear an answer from Itachi that he absolutely didn't want to hear. Uchiha Madara? Exclamation mark. Princess Tsunade, what's going on? If our information is correct, Uchiha Madara should have died in the battle with the 1st Hokage. The heartbeat of the 3rd Hokage accelerated slightly, but his many years of leadership career kept him calm and didn't show any fear. Tsunade naturally had no way to answer this question. After all, she didn't even know the whole story of the Uchiha clan's extermination, so how could she know what was going on with this Uchiha Madara? But some information could still be shared. Lord Hokage, the situation in Konoha is the same as what you know. Uchiha Madara fought with grandfather after he defected from Konoha. According to grandfather's account, he also used all his strength to kill Uchiha Madara. Even grandfather died soon after due to injuries. Uchiha Madara's body was handled by second grandfather himself. Konoha's records cannot be wrong. If it is true as what you said, Princess Tsunade, then either Konoha's records have been tampered with, or Uchiha Itachi is lying, but the biggest possibility is that someone is impersonating Uchiha Madara. The 3rd generation Hokage regained his composure and analyzed several possibilities. At this time, the 4th generation Kazekage Raza also interrupted and said, "What's the reason? What's the point of impersonating a dead person? Assuming that the Uchiha clan was really killed by him and Uchiha Itachi, is there any need to impersonate someone else with his power?" It seems that it is different from the 5th generation Kazekage who is young but quite accomplished. You, the 4th Kazekage, seem even more inexperienced. The 3rd Hokage laughed and mocked, which made Luo Sha's face instantly cold and said in a deep voice, "Master Hokage, if you have something to say, you might as well say it directly, there is no need to be so sarcastic." Although he is just a dead person, the name Uchiha Madara itself carries power. The third Tsuchikage looked around the four people around him and said to these young people with emotion, "Only by really facing that person can you understand the horror of this power, so I conclude that this person pretending to be Uchiha Madara has great ambitions." Founder? Exclamation mark. Then he should have died a long time ago, are you kidding me? Sasuke was very angry. At this time, Itachi actually said such a childish thing to him. Even if Itachi repeatedly emphasized that Madara was still alive, Sasuke didn't believe it at all. Then he heard Itachi say, "Everyone will rely on their own knowledge and cognition and be bound by it, and call it reality." However, so-called knowledge and cognition are very ambiguous, and the reality based on these may be an illusion. People live in their own cognition. Don't you think so? Confused by Itachi's confusing words, Sasuke asked impatiently, "What are you talking about? Can anyone understand what Itachi is saying? Is it because my IQ is too low? I can't understand what he is saying. Do all masters talk like this?" No, the top ninjas before didn't talk like this, although it's a bit confusing. Uchiha Itachi actually has only one thing to say, that is, what you think may not be what you think. My brain is tangled. Can't you be simpler when talking about the truth? Learn from Naruto. I tried to understand what he said, and I felt dizzy as if I was in an illusion. Is this Uchiha's illusion? It's so scary. Chapter 211. Banara is dead. This is just your wishful thinking. Just like you used to think I was a gentle brother. Itachi chuckled and said this heartbreaking words, which made Sasuke subconsciously think of the happy times when the two brothers were together, and then the brother who killed his parents and said coldly that he wanted to test his ability. What happened that night? For the young me, I could only regard everything as an illusion. I wish it was just a powerful illusion, but everything was undoubtedly real. As Sasuke's inner thoughts were revealed, his tone changed from sadness to hatred. He turned around and raised his hand, and the lightning turned into a spear and pierced into the stone chair beside Itachi's face. If Uchiha Madara is really still alive, how old was he when he destroyed the Uchiha clan? At least 80 or 90 years old. How much strength can he retain at such an old age? I seem to understand what Uchiha Itachi means. According to his theory, why do you think that the strength of Uchiha Madara in his 80s or 90s will decline? Maybe he is different from ordinary ninjas. As long as he's alive, he can always maintain his full combat power. You just want to express that you are different from ordinary people, right? You said it so obscurely that you are just bragging. Uchiha Itachi was like this before he destroyed the clan. Sasuke seemed to be acting cute with him. I'm very curious. Did Uchiha Itachi have the idea of exterminating the clan from the beginning? If so, I can only say that this guy is full of evil tastes. By the way, is Uchiha Itachi too calm? He was stabbed by Sasuke, so why is his expression so calm? I suddenly don't understand Sasuke's actions. Why did he turn around and attack Uchiha Itachi from the front? No way, is it another illusion? Uchiha Madara. In the Pure Land, Senju Tobirama frowned deeply at the sky. He couldn't tell whether what Uchiha Itachi said was true. Obviously, he was the one who collected Madara's body himself. However, considering that all kinds of strange abilities will appear after the main Gekyo is opened, it seems not surprising that Madara has the ability to resurrect from the dead. Thinking of this, Tobirama Senju looked at Hashirama Senju and asked, "Brother, you said before that you felt Madara's chakra after regaining consciousness. Are you sure you are not wrong? It shouldn't be." Hashirama Senju touched his chin thoughtfully. "Only Madara's chakra can give me that feeling." "How can I describe that feeling?" "Well, it's hard to describe. Okay, as long as you are sure that it is Madara's chakra, we can't interfere with things that have passed, but at least we must ensure that from now on, Madara cannot exert influence on the present world, so that no matter what conspiracy he has, it doesn't matter." Tobirama Senju said with a serious expression. He has begun to think about who to send to search for Uchiha Madara's whereabouts. Seeing his ferocious look, Hashirama Senju said in a low voice, "There's no need to be so vigilant against Madara. We're all dead now. Even he won't do anything too extreme, right?" However, Tobirama Senju completely ignored Hashirama Senju's innocent words and looked at the sky curtain seriously, hoping to get more information about Uchiha Madara from it. "My eyes are different now. My Sharingan can see through illusions." Sasuke glared, but Itachi's emotions never fluctuated from beginning to end. Even when he was sarcastic, He said it calmly. HMPH, you're still as arrogant as before. I'll take this sentence first. The scene turned to a bird's eye view, and another Itachi was sitting on a high stone chair unscathed. As for Sasuke and the pierced Itachi, they had changed their positions to the center of the hall without knowing when. Itachi, who was pierced, turned into a phantom and disappeared. Sasuke retracted his posture and released the ninjutsu. He regained his emotions and said calmly, I don't need to play along with you anymore. Hiss, it's really an illusion. It turns out that Sasuke has been standing still and has been in Itachi's illusion all along. From Sasuke's words, he should have figured it out. He is just cooperating with Itachi to get information. No wonder Itachi said reality may be just an illusion. With his illusion that is almost indistinguishable from the real thing, it is so convincing. No wonder there is a saying, run away before you see Uchiha's eyes. If you meet an enemy like Uchiha Itachi, you will be gone immediately after looking into his eyes. What's the point of fighting? Is Uchiha Itachi special? Doesn't he have that Mangekyou Sharingan? He should be stronger than other Uchiha with 3 Magatama. Even if he is only half as good as me, it's still scary. If he suddenly glares at you in close combat, you will be dead. Although being strong is not a bad thing, Sasuke, you don't seem to have the same eyes as me, Itachi said lightly. You haven't killed your important people yet, and you come to me with such naive thoughts? Humph, then you should kill me quickly with your Mangekyou Sharingan, or am I unable to measure your capacity now? Sasuke swung his left wrist contemptuously. Seeing this, Itachi sighed and slowly stood up from the stone chair. You are so confident in yourself. At this time, the sky curtain switched the picture to the ceiling where the two were, and a face in black and white stretched out from it and looked at the two brothers below. Huh? Uchiha Itachi's words mean that the condition for opening the Mangekyou Sharingan is to kill the most important person to oneself. Obviously, that's what he meant, so this is the truth behind the Uchiha clan extermination. To open the Mangekyou Sharingan, no, this logic doesn't make sense. People who think of killing the most important person to gain more power, do they have so-called important people in their hearts? So people who really do this can't open the Mangekyou Sharingan. That may not be the case. If the premise is to kill the most important person, but the purpose is not to gain power, this scenario is also possible. Aren't there many cases of being forced to kill companions during missions? Just think about it, and there are a lot of them, but from what Itachi said, it seems that he is guiding Sasuke to take the initiative to kill his important people. Chapter 212. The most important people, Naruto, Sakura, and Kakashi. Uchiha Sasuke is a very cold guy, so it should be them, almost certain. Fortunately, Sasuke did not follow his brother's plan, otherwise Naruto and the others would be in danger. The most dangerous people are the ones around him. Thank you, teammates, for not killing me. Isn't this strange face in black and white the pitcher plant monster from Akatsuki that appeared before? Uchiha Itachi is also from Akatsuki. Could this be his backup plan? Can Sasuke withstand it? Now, the members of Akatsuki who have been exposed are all as powerful as the cage? Or has his strength grown to the level of Naruto, where a single shadow clone can defeat the cage? The two of them haven't moved at all since just now, White Zetsu asked curiously, so the experienced Black Zetsu answered his question. They are just competing in illusion. Itachi and Sasuke looked at each other quietly, and in the world of illusion, Itachi was introducing the Mangekyou Sharingan to Sasuke. The Mangekyou Sharingan, this kind of eye is very special. From the moment they opened, these eyes began to move towards darkness, and the more they were used, the more they would be sealed. What do you mean? Sasuke asked impatiently, but he still asked honestly, and then heard Itachi give this answer. The Mangekyou will lose its light one day. The just now mentioned by this pitcher plant monster refers to that time point, when Sasuke and Itachi said their first words. After the first fight between the two, I'm already lying down. Anyway, it's impossible to distinguish their illusions. I'll just wait for the sky to reveal. I don't know if it's the reason for the sky curtain. Maybe I can see some flaws when I see it on the spot. Anyway, I can't see anything, so I won't waste my brain cells. Oh. Let's start talking about the Mangekyou. This is the key point. Take notes. Seal. Lose light. The more you use it, the blinder you will be. Right. I give up. You have to make such a simple sentence so difficult to understand. Do you really want to get Sasuke's response? If the condition of killing the most important person mentioned by Uchiha Itachi is true, plus such a serious side effect, then how powerful is this so-called Mangekyou Sharingan? Blindness. Is this the price of being able to control the power of the Nine Tails? Sasuke understood it this way. At this time, Itachi took a step towards him. Huh? It seems that you have read the stone tablet of the assembly hall as I said. Who is Madara? Sasuke continued to ask about Madara's information. Itachi stopped and opened the Mangekyo. The three Magatama connected to form three blades that were connected in a cross shape. He was the first man to tame the Nine Tails with those eyes. He is not only my partner, but also my teacher, a man who will not be destroyed. And he is also the only one who discovered another secret of the Mangekyo Sharingan, that is, Uchiha Madara. Controlling the Nine Tails. So exaggerated. According to legend, Uchiha Madara controlled the Nine Tails to fight the first Hokage Senju Hashirama. So is Uchiha Madara really strong, or is it just relying on the power of the Nine Tails that can compete with the first Hokage? Just relying on the power of the Nine Tails. Don't you feel awkward saying this? A person who can control the power of the Nine Tails, and it's not in the form of drawing chakra like Naruto, normal people will not doubt his ability. Uchiha Itachi's eyes, this is the Mangekyo Sharingan, it looks ordinary, and I don't know what ability it has, Uchiha Madara. Another secret of the Mangekyo Sharingan. What is that? Sasuke's expression was a little confused, but Itachi fell silent. Unable to bear with his expression that had not changed from beginning to end, Sasuke asked impatiently and sharply, what is it? Tell me. At this time, Itachi could hardly see Sasuke's appearance, but he remained calm in such a bad situation. Then let's talk about some stories from the past. This is related to the history of the Uchiha clan. Once, Madara also had a brother, who was his younger brother. Itachi directly cast an illusion, turning the environment around Sasuke into an ancient village. Uchiha Itachi's eyes are almost blind. The Uchiha are known for their sharp eyesight, but now their eyesight is even worse than that of ordinary ninjas. No wonder you've been using illusions on Sasuke. In this case, the effects of ninjutsu and taijutsu are greatly reduced. Now it's the story of the Uchiha brothers again. Alice, stories of historical figures like that are not very valuable. Don't be too sure. If Uchiha Itachi didn't lie and Uchiha Madara is really still alive, then it's necessary to get some information about him. Sasuke followed the sound of fighting and soon saw two young men sparring in an open space in front of a house. At this time, Itachi's voice rang in his ears. They have been competing with each other to improve each other's strength since they were young. Later, both of them got the Sharingan. Unknowingly, the names of the two brothers became special in the Uchiha clan. After that, in order to improve their pupil power, they continued to compete, and finally, both brothers got the Mangekyo Sharingan. After they obtained this power, they led the Uchiha clan, and Madara, as the elder brother, became the leader. However, Madara, who had been going smoothly, began to show abnormal changes in his body. As I said just now, if the power of the Mangekyo is used too much, it will be sealed, and the end is endless darkness, which is the end of the Mangekyo Sharingan. What is the name of Uchiha Madara's younger brother? He doesn't seem to be very famous in the ninja world. He should have died during the Warring States period. Anyway, I haven't heard that Uchiha Madara has a younger brother after the village was built. They all have Mangekyo Sharingan, so they should be masters. Why didn't they survive? According to the records, although the scale of the struggles during the Warring States period was not as large as the three subsequent Ninja World Wars, the frequency and cruelty of the battles were comparable or even worse, so the death of one or two masters is really nothing. Chapter 213. In order to regain his sight, Madara tried everything but nothing worked, so he was desperate. In the end, Madara, who was obsessed with the power of the Mangekyo, took away his brother's eyes for the sake of light. In the illusion constructed by Itachi, Sasuke was shocked to see Uchiha Madara taking away his brother's eyes. Then the picture changed, and Uchiha Madara's Mangekyo changed into a new pattern. Madara got new light, and those eyes will never be blind again. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. My brother's eyes have gained eternal light because they have a new host. Not only that, a unique new eye technique was born in those eyes, but the exchange of eyes can only be carried out among the clan members, and not everyone can get new power by this method. This is a fact verified after many sacrifices. This is another secret of these eyes. In the illusion constructed by Itachi, Uchiha Madara's brother's eyes were dug out without any resistance. Another he didn't see it with his own eyes. Maybe he made it up in his mind through Uchiha Madara's narration. Anyway, it's enough to know that Uchiha Madara got his brother's eyes. just found out about the Mangekyou Sharingan, and immediately got the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan. How many things do you Uchiha clan still hide? After all, it is one of the two strongest ninja clans in the Warring States period. Uchiha Madara is also a strong man who dominates an era. It seems that this kind of power is barely acceptable. After all, what kind of power does the Mangekyou Sharingan have? In the Pure Land, Uchiha Madara listened coldly to Itachi's story. Took away Izuna's Mangekyou Sharingan for the sake of light? Humph, Izuna didn't live to that time at all. Before his eyesight declined to affect the battle, Izuna had been seriously injured by the despicable Senju Tobirama. Uchiha Madara still remembers the look of his brother when he entrusted his eyes to him before he died. That is why Uchiha Madara could not forgive the white-haired Senju Tobirama and realized that hatred can never be eliminated. Sasuke calmed down and watched Uchiha Madara's life calmly. Itachi continued to tell the story. With his power, Madara ruled many ninja clans, and then joined forces with the Senju of the forest, who was considered the strongest in the ninja world, to create the Hidden Leaf Village. Later, Madara and the leader of the Senju, who later became the first Hokage, had a disagreement over the village's policy and lost in the political struggle, but until now Madara still exists in the world with that high power. He formed a new organization Akatsuki and hid in it. 16 years ago, the Nine Tails attacked Konoha because of Madara, but he was stopped by the fourth Hokage. In other words, the leader of Akatsuki is Uchiha Madara. None of the 10 people who appeared in the sky last time looked like Uchiha Madara. You forgot the masked man. Maybe Uchiha Madara hid his identity in this way. You said Uchiha Madara could survive. Could it be the ability of the Mangekyou Sharingan? It's useless to guess about this kind of thing. Let's wait for the sky to reveal it. Hey. The Nine Tails attacked Konoha under the control of Uchiha Madara. I remember that the Nine Tails attacked Konoha 12 years ago, which means that the time on the sky is 4 years later. Finally, there is an accurate time. Time is not the point. Shouldn't we be discussing the matter of Uchiha Madara controlling the Nine Tails to attack Konoha? I don't think there's much to say here. Uchiha Madara broke with the first Hokage, and it is rumored that he was killed by the first Hokage. So what's so strange about him taking revenge on Konoha? It's better to think about why he helped Itachi to destroy the Uchiha clan. Perhaps he wanted to win over Uchiha Itachi? After all, he can kill his friends and brothers for power. If necessary, it would not be a big problem to kill the whole clan. He was stopped by the fourth Hokage. Although the fourth Hokage is also very famous in the ninja world, he is still not as famous as Uchiha Madara. How did he stop the combination of Uchiha Madara and the Nine Tails, assuming that the masked man is Uchiha Madara? Judging from the fact that he was hiding his head and tail and dared not show his true face, he might have been seriously injured in the battle with the first Hokage, so he could not exert his full strength. Then it makes sense that the fourth Hokage sealed the Nine Tails at the cost of his life and repelled Uchiha Madara at the same time. In the Hidden Rain Village, Nagato and Konan looked at each other, both of them showing puzzled expressions. Xiaoming was founded by Yahiko, for what became Uchiha Madara in Uchiha Itachi's mouth? What's the problem? In addition, his own Samsara eye seems to hide some secrets, which makes Nagato, who always thinks everything is under control, feel shaken. He shook his head gently and threw away these cowardly thoughts. At this time, Nagato can only force himself to be energetic and determined that there is nothing wrong with this path. It doesn't matter. Whether it's Uchiha Itachi's Mangekyou Sharingan or Uchiha Madara's eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, they are nothing to be afraid of in front of the Samsara eye. Akatsuki will definitely move towards the goal set by Yahiko. After finishing the memories of the past, Itachi smiled and his originally calm tone gradually rose. Now Madara is just a stray dog. The person who can stand at the true peak of the Uchiha clan is definitely not him. The one who surpasses that man, surpasses Madara. The one who is really close to the peak should be me. Now, I can finally get the power to surpass Madara. Sasuke. Itachi suddenly showed a wild and wanton smile and shouted loudly, "To me, you are my new light." A spare from my eyes, Sasuke looked at a demon head with 4 eyes in shock, appearing behind Itachi, 2 of which were empty. Fuck, his expression suddenly became so exaggerated, it scared me to death. Hey, pay attention to your image, your handsome guy filter is directly shattered into slag. You know what, he was always so calm, and suddenly he did this, the shock was quite big. It turns out that Uchiha Itachi is so arrogant in his heart, and Uchiha Madara is a stray dog in his eyes. I always feel something is wrong. According to Uchiha Itachi, the reason why he spared Sasuke's life when the clan was exterminated was to get his Mangekyo so that his eyes could become eternal Mangekyo. But Sasuke obviously doesn't have a Mangekyo now, right? Chapter 214. Oh, right. Should Itachi be angry and disappointed when he heard that Sasuke didn't have a Mangekyo Sharingan? Why is he so fanatical? Why do you all assume that Itachi's words are true? He has been pretending to be a gentle brother in front of Sasuke for several years. Why do you think he's not lying to Sasuke now? The demon's hair extended and wrapped around Sasuke's body. Itachi also completely lost control of his emotions and kept on talking loudly. The Uchiha clan is a shameful clan that can kill friends for the Mangekyo Sharingan, kill brothers for the eternal pupil power, and always boast about this power. From the day you were born in this clan, from now on, you have been involved in this bloody fate. Come on, brother. Let me kill you, break free from the fate of the family and get a real change. Let me get rid of my own limitations and liberate myself in my own capacity. We are each other's spare parts. This is the bond between the brothers of the Uchiha clan. Ha ha ha, I can't help laughing. A good cold-faced handsome guy suddenly became like this. I can tell that he has no experience of speaking loudly, as if something is stuck in his throat. Uchiha Itachi looks down on the Uchiha clan. No wonder he can kill the entire clan without any burden. Huh? This kind of thing can't be explained by look down on. Judging from his appearance, it should be a psychological abnormality caused by long-term repression. No, this kind of ninja clan that needs to kill its own clan to gain power, how can it have blood inheritance? This only shows that there was no one as crazy as Uchiha Itachi in the past. Now he appears, and then Uchiha is gone. Bonds, your Uchiha's bond is really powerful. Kisame Hoshigaki, who has been following Uchiha Itachi, looked at the sky with a strange expression. Mr. Itachi, are you so wild inside? As the person involved, Uchiha Itachi didn't feel anything about his exaggerated expression, but the other party was different. After seeing Itachi's exaggerated expression, Sasuke couldn't help but open his mouth and show a stunned expression. It wasn't until Itachi told him his purpose himself that Sasuke came back to his senses and sank his face. So this is why you let me live. Do you want my eyes as your spare? But when he thought that Konoha seemed to be involved, Sasuke felt that there is something wrong with this statement. Itachi's roar was heard word by Sasuke, and at the same time, the devil's hair was entangled and swirled into claws and stretched towards his eyes. In this situation, Sasuke closed his eyes and recalled that Itachi once said that he would become an obstacle and he must surpass him. So far, all the illusions in front of him, whether it was the four-eyed devil or the ferocious and arrogant Itachi, disappeared. Sasuke methodically tore off the bandage on his forehead and the cloak on his body to reveal his combat uniform. Watching his movements, Itachi's face was calm as if it had never changed. It seems, you have seen me in your heart. Your expression collapsed like that in the illusion, but in reality it has always been serious. Ha ha ha, after seeing Uchiha Itachi's arrogant attitude, I won't be surprised no matter what he does now. After playing so many illusions, now it's finally time to start fighting with real swords and guns. So it's all for this. Sasuke thought of his long-cherished wish, opened his eyes and looked at Itachi seriously. Finally, it's time to reach this point, the moment to complete my goal. Although you said you can see my death, you can't defeat me with a Mangekyo Sharingan. Itachi put his arm back into his sleeve and concluded Sasuke's actions in a calm tone. It's a pity that your goal can only end in an illusion, because you don't have a Mangekyo. Sasuke also prepared for the battle, untied the bandage on his wrist to reveal two seals with sword written on them, and then retorted, no matter how you use those eyes, I will use my hatred to turn illusions into reality. And the reality you have to face is death. I don't know if Sasuke knows the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan. If he knows and can still say such things, it means he must have a great trump card. Uchiha Itachi is too confident. Can't he be defeated without the Mangekyo? He talks so awesome. Then how did Uchiha Madara lose to the first Hokage? He has the eternal Mangekyo. I thought so too, but if Uchiha Madara is still alive, then there will be debate over who will win between him and the first Hokage. After speaking harshly, the two looked at each other for a second, and suddenly both sides moved at the same time. Sasuke conjured a shuriken from the ceiling technique and shot it at Itachi, and Itachi also retaliated with the same attack. With the inside of the Sharingan, the two of them had an extremely fierce shuriken duel at a distance of just over 10 meters, but for the two brothers with amazing eyesight, This seemingly fierce mutual attack was just a warm-up. After hundreds of shurikens collided and stopped, the two of them rushed forward at the same time to close the distance. The two of them grabbed each other's arms and stalemate together. At this time, a shadow clone of Itachi suddenly jumped up from behind him and shot 3 kunai at Sasuke, who was unable to move. Hiss, ordinary shuriken attacks can actually be so fierce. In addition to the Sharingan and fire release, the Uchiha are also famous for shuriken jutsu. This kind of scene is actually nothing. The Sharingan has a huge advantage in this regard. Damn. If there is no defense like the Raikage, how many people will be killed by this wave of shuriken attacks? Awesome. He can even use shadow clones in such a fierce attack. In the previous battle, he was able to form a seal of shadow clone. Sasuke analyzed Itachi's actions with a cold eye, and at the same time, he urged the power of the cursed seal to extend a white snake from his neck, which not only blocked the attack of the kunai, but also forced Itachi in front of him to loosen his arms and step back a few steps. Then with the help of the white snake's cover, Sasuke prepared a huge wind demon shuriken in advance and launched an attack. Although Itachi took out a kunai to block the high-speed rotating wind demon shuriken at the moment he launched the attack, because Sasuke used the blessing of Chidori, the wind demon shuriken directly cut off the kunai and rolled into Itachi's body. Chapter 215. Itachi, who was hit, turned into dozens of crows and rushed towards Sasuke. Taking advantage of the moment when his attention was attracted, Itachi instantly rushed in front of Sasuke and kicked him away, causing him to hit the wall heavily. Hey! How did this snake get out of Sasuke's neck? In addition to a lot of snake-related ninjutsu, Sasuke learned from Orochimaru. Could it be that he also learned Orochimaru's perverted fighting methods, such as spitting things out of his mouth? Although it's a bit disgusting, if you can create a snake from any part of your body, it will be very useful in battle. After all, other people only have 2 hands, and you can have a countless hands. Uchiha Itachi has been using crows as a medium to perform clones. Obviously, it would be more convenient to use shadow clones at this time. Crows are quite suitable for his temperament. After seeing his crazy laughter in front of him, you still have this idea. Sasuke performed Chidori with difficulty and prepared to launch a counterattack, but Itachi grabbed his wrist again and stepped on his foot. He was also punched in the abdomen and his strength was temporarily reduced. Forgive me, Sasuke. Itachi stretched out his hand and pressed his fingers on Sasuke's eye sockets. This is my reality. I will accept this light. Accompanied by Sasuke's scream, his left eye was directly dug out by Itachi. Sasuke covered his eyes in pain. Itachi was indifferent to his miserable condition and sneered coldly, "So didn't I say that you can't be my opponent without the Mangekyo Sharingan?" Sasuke, who had recovered a little, looked at his bloody palm in disbelief, but Itachi didn't intend to give him a chance to breathe, and said coldly, "I'll take the other one too." Hiss, it's only been a short while since we started fighting, and Sasuke has lost one eye. How can we fight next? The Sharingan can't compare to the Mangekyo, and now there's one less. Sasuke was so confident before, but he lost all of a sudden. Damn it. What is that guy doing to Sasuke? Naruto stopped the training at hand, gritted his teeth and punched the big tree next to him. Before, it was a father who persecuted his son crazily, and now there is a brother who dug out his brother's eyes. These people really trampled on Naruto's longing for family affection again and again. In the library, Sakura looked at Sasuke with his eyes dug out on the sky with a pale face. Although she knew that it was a matter of the future and not now, she was too concerned. When she thought that Sasuke would seek revenge on his brother one day, then this scene on the sky might happen to him. Thinking of this, Sakura reaffirmed her determination. I have to work harder. I want to help Sasuke. As for Sasuke himself, although he was a little disappointed that he could not successfully take revenge in the future, at least he has learned a lesson now, so what he has to do is to work harder than his future self, and he must not blindly seek revenge on his brother before getting stronger power. By the way, what's the point of Uchiha Itachi digging out Sasuke's 3 Magatama Sharingan? If this problem is not solved, there is no way to figure out Uchiha Itachi's real motive. Sharingan can be transplanted, just like Kakashi. Maybe Uchiha Itachi intends to transplant Sasuke's eyes to others, and then use the same method to make the pair of Sharingan become a Mangekyo. Sasuke naturally did not intend to sit and wait for death, and quickly activated the curse seal, and a palm-shaped wing grew from his back to force Itachi back. Seeing him panting in embarrassment, Itachi took out a jar filled with solution and put the Sharingan he had just dug out into it. This is the difference in power between you and me. And also, another clone appeared from behind Sasuke and grabbed his neck. The difference in pupil power between you and me. Itachi walked slowly towards Sasuke, raised his arm and stretched out his hand towards his other eye. Sasuke, who was struggling to get away, released all the power of the curse seal and entered state 2. Two white snakes emerged from his back and pierced through the clones behind him. Then the whole picture turned gray and white in a twist, and then shattered into countless pieces. Well, the wing behind Sasuke is the change brought by the second curse seal. Working under a scientific lunatic like Orochimaru, it feels like they will more or less do some human body modification to strengthen their bodies. A good Uchiha has become like this. It's worth paying a little price to improve your strength to this level in 4 years, although it's not a match for Uchiha Itachi after all. No, the rhythm of the battle is completely controlled by Uchiha Itachi, and Sasuke can't even fight back. Hey, what's going on? Why did the screen turn colorless after Sasuke entered the second curse seal? What kind of trick is this? The fragments dispersed from the screen, and Sasuke, who was gasping for breath and holding his left eye, returned to the center of the hall. He lowered his arm, showing a pair of intact eyes, but the whole person was slightly exhausted and half knelt on the ground. The victory was decided too quickly. Itachi won. White Zetsu, who was hiding in the ceiling and watching the battle, said confidently. Black Zetsu was just about to hear what he had to say, and then he heard White Zetsu explain, because he was hit by Tsukuyomi, he can't move anymore, and he can only be slaughtered after that. However, Itachi's situation was not much better than Sasuke. He also half knelt down with his left eye covered, and said in a tone full of disbelief, "You gave my Tsukuyomi to?" Huh? Fuck. The fight just now was also an illusion. I can't tell. I really can't tell. No, are you done yet? Why don't you fight with real swords and guns? You guys won't just stand there and stare at each other the whole time. No. Pay attention to the ground. There are many shurikens left over from the previous fight. They must have turned into illusions in the middle of the fight. I always felt that illusions were more advanced in ninjutsu and taijutsu. Now I finally understand where this feeling comes from. This ability to play with the enemy in the palm of your hand is terrifying to think about. Tsukuyomi, is that the name of this illusion? Judging from the reactions of Uchiha Itachi and the black and white-faced weirdo, this Tsukuyomi is probably the ability of the main Gekyo. This reminds me of the infinite Tsukuyomi and limited Tsukuyomi mentioned by the masked man last time. What is the relationship between these three? Chapter 216. Can anyone tell what this illusion does? Why does it feel like it's no different from an ordinary illusion? Are you sure there's no difference? If you observe an ordinary illusion carefully, you can find some distortions and inconsistencies. But if it weren't for the sky curtain showing it, I wouldn't have noticed anything wrong with this Tsukuyomi. It's exactly the same as reality. The situation now is, Uchiha Itachi's illusion was broken by Sasuke. Although I know that this is the result of Sasuke's strong strength, Uchiha Itachi boasted so much before, and the gap is so big all of a sudden, giving people a feeling that the main Gekyo Sharingan is just like this. Sasuke first looked at the changes in the picture in surprise, and then he was ecstatic. He actually suppressed Itachi's main Gekyo with the power of the Sharingan. At this time, Sasuke also recovered his breath and stood up again. This situation made Zetsu puzzled. Huh? Question mark. Why didn't Sasuke fall down after being hit by Tsukuyomi? Black Zetsu explained that Sasuke was not hit, but cracked Tsukuyomi, so White Zetsu was even more confused. Hey. How could a guy with just the Sharingan win over the main Gekyo Sharingan? The Sharingan is just a weapon of the ninja. The strength of the weapon can determine the strength of the weapon. Even the shuriken may not be able to defeat the stone thrown by the master. The important thing is the difference in strength. From this point of view, perhaps Sasuke's strength has surpassed Itachi. Black Zetsu expressed his thoughts. The offense and defense are reversed. Sasuke is stronger than Itachi. Just now I was questioning where Sasuke got so much confidence, but now I want to ask the opposite question. Is Uchiha Itachi's strength just like this? Exclamation mark. The higher level Sharingan was suppressed in turn? Exclamation mark. No. Is Sasuke too strong or Itachi too weak? I don't understand this development. The failure in illusion can only prove that Sasuke's illusion talent is stronger than Itachi's, but it does not mean that Itachi's strength is not as good as Sasuke's. I understand the truth. The key is that Uchiha Itachi said so much before, but when the real fight came, he was suppressed by Sasuke. This is really lame. I said before, No matter how you use those eyes, I will use my hatred to turn the illusion into reality, Sasuke emphasized while looking down at the half-kneeling Itachi. Itachi snorted coldly when he heard it, quickly calmed down the backlash of the illusion and stood up. Humph, turn the illusion into reality? Then I will return this sentence to you intact. The Tsukuyomi just now has made you see the illusion of your eyes being dug out. I will make it a reality now. White Zetsu noticed that Itachi's momentum had changed, so Black Zetsu said expectantly, it seems that he is serious. Who knows? I can see his Amaterasu next. Under this circumstance, Uchiha Itachi is still so confident. It seems that he should be confident that he can defeat Sasuke in other aspects. Really? Why do I feel that it is similar to the harsh words I said before the battle just now? Since Sasuke can surpass Itachi in illusion, then why does Itachi think that Sasuke's ninjutsu and taijutsu are weaker than his? Here we can completely quote what Uchiha Itachi said when he was educating Sasuke just now. He only measures Sasuke's strength with his own cognition and knowledge, and calls this reality, but he doesn't know that this reality may just be an illusion. How about it? It's appropriate. Ha. Use it flexibly. Amaterasu, I heard the name of a new move again. Black Zetsu's words immediately aroused White Zetsu's interest. Seeing Itachi below ready to release ninjutsu, Black Zetsu continued to explain to White Zetsu, if we continue to compete in illusions, there will be no end. After Tsukuyomi was broken by Sasuke, the illusion war has lost its meaning. Next, we have to use ninjutsu to fight directly. If the main Gekyo in Itachi's left eye has the strongest illusion Tsukuyomi, then the main Gekyo in the right eye is the strongest physical attack Amaterasu, which is said to be a black flame that will never go out unless it burns everything in its eyes. The two brothers confronted each other for a moment. Suddenly, Itachi's hands quickly formed seals, but Sasuke obviously did not intend to give him the opportunity to release ninjutsu. In an instant, a Fuma Shuriken was conjured from the seal on his wrist and swung at Itachi. It's confirmed. This Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu are the abilities of the main Gekyo Sharingan. The ability is actually two specific moves. I thought it was adding a passive ability on top of insight, copy, and illusion. The previous passive abilities should also be enhanced, just like the 1 Magatama to the 2 Magatama to the changes of 3 Magatama are the same. This description does not make it clear what the strength of the main Gekyo Sharingan is. So, it can far surpass other 3 Magatama Sharingans. What you said, it's just 2 more skills. Sometimes even if you just add a powerful move, your strength will change dramatically. Naruto is a good example of this. As long as he learns the Rasengan, coupled with his terrifying number of shadow clones, the threat level will immediately increase by several levels. The strongest. Generally speaking, those who say this kind of words are flattering themselves. Did they have the strongest defense before? What was the result? The strongest illusion. When it is broken, it is no longer worthy of this title, and even the strongest physical attack will be doubted. The black flame that will never go out until everything in the eyes burn to ashes. This move Amaterasu actually says the specific effect. This description sounds like fire coming out of the eyes. The Fuma Shuriken attacked quickly, and Itachi had to stop the seal and duck to avoid the attack. However, unexpectedly, the shadow of the Fuma Shuriken still had another Fuma Shuriken. With the help of Sasuke's Chidori, Itachi, who was unable to resist, jumped lightly and passed through the gap between the 2 shuriken to avoid the attack. However, Sasuke's attack combo was not over yet. He used 2 steel wires to open the mechanism on the 2 shuriken. The shuriken that had already flown behind Itachi instantly broke into 8 blades and attacked in the opposite direction. Even though Itachi had done his best to dodge, he was still stabbed in the thigh by a blade, and the whole person fell to the ground in embarrassment. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217. Shadow Shuriken Technique. A low-level ninjutsu can also be used to such an effect. It really shows that Sasuke is very strong. Last time, he was still working with Naruto to fight Zabuza. Many people have mentioned this before. All kinds of gorgeous big moves are indeed powerful, but those who can use low-level ninjutsu just right are considered true masters. Otherwise they will be like young Naruto, who has a huge amount of chakra but can't fully exert his strength. Tisk. I admit that Sasuke's series of attacks are very clever, But for the hand is that Uchiha Itachi, the Uchiha Itachi who killed all the clan members. How could he be hit by a modified shuriken? Oh my god, what right did Uchiha Itachi have to say such big words? The attack worked and Sasuke showed a hint of evil smile, but the black zetsu on the ceiling felt very strange. It's wrong? There is no reason for Itachi to not be able to avoid that kind of attack. Itachi pulled out a blade on his thigh with an ugly face. He looked across and found that the Sasuke in his eyes was not only blurry but also double. Looking at his painful expression, Sasuke sneered with a smug face. Is it the side effect of using Tsuku Ayomi just now? It feels good, right? It was Sasuke's turn to pursue the victory. He directly used a great fireball technique on Itachi who was half kneeling on the ground. Itachi could only endure the pain and jump up to avoid the attack, but Sasuke's subsequent attack was also ready. Almost at the moment Itachi jumped up, Sasuke had already hit him with lightning. From what this black and white-faced guy said, is Itachi Uchiha hiding his strength? That's impossible. Although you can show weakness to the enemy and catch them off guard, the premise is to try to maintain your own condition. It's meaningless if you get hurt. Hey, Sasuke, you are so arrogant, your tone is so annoying. It sounds like a third-rate villain statement. Usually, after saying this, he will be defeated next. So far, I have not seen how powerful this main Gekkai Sharingan is. On the contrary, Uchiha Itachi, the user, not only had a serious vision loss, but also looked extremely weak after the illusion was broken, which seriously affected his combat performance. Even if it was an ordinary illusion, the spirit would be greatly impacted after being countered, not to mention this more advanced illusion. Although I don't see how advanced it is, the dome was pierced and a cloud of dust exploded. Itachi rushed out of the dust and came to the top of the building. He counterattacked the gap in the ceiling with fire escape, but was blocked by Sasuke who also came to the top of the building with his wings behind him. After a round of attack, the two looked at each other in silence for a moment, and then they formed the same hand seal at the same time and cast the great fireball technique on each other. The raging flames collided fiercely. Although it was the same move, they did not hold out for long, and the wall of fire continued to approach Itachi. In this situation, Itachi's right eye, which was tightly closed, shed a stream of blood and tears, and then it suddenly opened. Amaterasu. The pupils were full of bloodshot, and as Itachi opened his eyes, a ball of black flame appeared in the middle of the fire wall, and in a moment, it burned up the flame spit out by Sasuke. No way, a powerful fire escape, just blocked by wings like this. According to this strength, most conventional ninjutsu can't break this layer of defense. Seeing this way of dealing with it, I can only say that Orochimaru is awesome. No, Uchiha Itachi is weaker than Uchiha Sasuke in all aspects. If it weren't for the main Gekkai Sharingan, he probably wouldn't last a few rounds. This battle is very different from what I imagined. I originally thought that Uchiha Itachi suppressed Uchiha throughout the whole process. Uchiha Sasuke, and then Uchiha Sasuke relied on persistence and various tactics, and finally turned defeat into victory with difficulty. Hey, you are talking about Naruto, don't get confused. This is Amaterasu, she really releases fire with her eyes. Awesome, even the fire was swallowed up. Unlike those who have been singing bad words about Itachi, Hashigaki Kisame, as a teammate, believes that he has enough understanding of Itachi's strength, so he can clearly tell that Itachi on the sky screen has not used his full strength at all. Itachi, what exactly do you want to do? Great. Swallowing the fire with fire. The white Zetsu, who was hiding and watching the battle, looked at this scene in surprise, and the experienced black Zetsu explained to him, for that ninjutsu, just look at the place you want to burn, and after focusing, black flames will be generated from the viewpoint. The black flames will not disappear until the captured object is burned up, even if the object is fire. Sasuke also analyzed the release principle of this move from Itachi's eyes closing action, so he naturally would not stay in place as a target and quickly ran around Itachi. Unfortunately, how could ordinary movement exceed Itachi's speed of turning his head and eyes? As Itachi's eyes moved, a black line of fire easily caught up with Sasuke and ignited his wings behind him. Hey! According to this meaning, doesn't it mean that this move can't be avoided at all? As long as Uchiha Itachi sees it, it will be hit. And it won't go out unless the target is burned out. According to this statement, if you are hit, you will die. No, how to deal with this move? Whether it is dodging or defending, it is impossible to be faster than the opponent's eyes. That's too much? The tactic to deal with Uchiha before was not to look into their eyes. Now, even being seen by their eyes can't work. Why do I feel that Uchiha Itachi can dominate the ninja world with this move? If he didn't want to dig out Sasuke's eyes, if he used this move at the beginning, it would be Sasuke's turn. There's a lot of crazy. The strongest illusion is a bit unworthy of its name, but the strongest physical attack seems to be reasonable. Suddenly, I feel that the side effect of going blind, if used too much, is not exaggerated at all. If there is no restriction, I don't know what the current ninja world will become. At this time, Sasuke's wings have become a burden. He should try to reduce the range of his body. No, if it is a head-on battle, I really can't think of any way to deal with this move. Sasuke has shown us what the consequences of running away are. Sasuke, who was hit, immediately fell to the ground and screamed, and was silent in less than 2 seconds. Itachi closed his right eye again, stood there panting, and after adjusting his breath a little, he walked step by step to Sasuke, squatted down and stretched out his hand to him. Chapter 218. Unexpectedly, Sasuke deflated like a deflated doll, and then turned into a pool of liquid, revealing a crack under his body. Under the crack, inside the building, Sasuke looked up with a smug smile. It turned out that he used the action of lying on the ground to open a hole in the dome, and then used Orochimaru's substitution technique to avoid Itachi's Amaterasu. Everything went according to Sasuke's plan. He couldn't wait to activate the curse seal and entered the second state, and then formed a seal to launch the Great Dragon Fire technique upwards. This sticky way of getting out of this situation reminds me of Orochimaru. Sasuke shed his skin. He used this method to avoid Amaterasu. Sure enough, we can't think of a way to deal with it because we are too weak. It's no problem for a top ninja like Orochimaru. Well, judging from what Sasuke said, it seems that all this isn't his plan. Itachi is kneeling on the spot and covering his right eye weakly, but he dodged immediately after Sasuke's attack. 3 consecutive dragon head flames shattered a large part of the dome and flew into the clouds, but only the last one hit Itachi's sleeve and barely burned his arm. The diffused smoke and dust dissipated. Itachi endured the pain in his arm and looked at Sasuke, who was holding his knees and panting. The Amaterasu just now seemed to have a significant impact on you. Although the attack didn't hit, Sasuke didn't look frustrated. He half knelt down with a little exhaustion, and the changes brought by the second state on his body quickly faded. Looking at the weak appearance of the two, Black Zetsu judged that their chakra was almost exhausted. Tisk. How should I put it? Although Uchiha Itachi has been looking like he is about to die since just now, he can dodge every attack of Sasuke. Is he pretending? It seems that Sasuke is still a little too anxious. He has obviously gained an advantage but didn't save chakra. Now it has become a situation where both sides are hurt. Indeed. The Heilong fire technique just now was a bit of a waste. It feels better to save chakra and compete with Itachi in physical skills. Maybe he saw that revenge was imminent and wanted to defeat the enemy with one blow. In the few battles that the Sky Curtain showed Sasuke, he seemed turned up with chakra exhausted every time. Exclamation mark. I've never heard of this question about Naruto. This is probably my last ninjutsu. Sasuke couldn't help showing a confident smile with his head down, but Itachi thought he was just bluffing and pointed out his situation. Sharingan is an eye that can see chakra, so don't be so stubborn. I know you have no chakra. Avoid Amaterasu's Orochimaru-style substitution technique. Although the kind of substitution technique is difficult to detect, it consumes a lot of chakra. Yes. Orochimaru has been swallowed by Sasuke. White Zetsu only remembered this at this moment, and Black Zetsu also realized belatedly how Sasuke avoided Amaterasu. Sasuke knows his own situation better than anyone else, but since he tried his best to bring about the current situation, he naturally has a backup plan. Hey, looking at Sasuke's expression, could it be that he has a backup plan? The last ninjutsu? There's no chakra left, so even if he uses it, it won't be powerful. Look at Uchiha Itachi, he's already so weak, even a kunai can kill him at this point, so any ninjutsu you use, as long as you hit the target, it's done. Hey, what's that black and white face saying? Orochimaru was swallowed. Question mark? What do you mean? No way. It turns out that Sasuke didn't escape from Orochimaru, but Orochimaru was killed. Orochimaru chose Sasuke because he wanted to use him as a container for his soul, and since the swallowing technique is used here, the word devour means that Orochimaru's soul was transferred to Sasuke's body and then suppressed and digested by him. Damn it. A veteran ninja like Orochimaru lost to a 16-year-old kid like Sasuke. How embarrassing. He was killed by his own vessel. Wait? Could it be that the damage caused by the third Hokage to Orochimaru has not been recovered, so Sasuke got the advantage? Well, this explanation is barely acceptable. But I feel that even if Orochimaru is in his prime, he should not be able to do anything to Sasuke. Although I don't know who is stronger between Uchiha Itachi and Orochimaru, since Sasuke can suppress Uchiha Itachi like this, it seems that he can fight Orochimaru on equal terms. That makes sense, right? That's true. I really underestimated you, Uchiha Sasuke. Orochimaru smiled sinisterly, but because he always looked like this, it was hard to read what he was feeling at the moment. Indeed, I don't have much chakra now. The fire escape just now used up my last chakra. As Sasuke spoke, the sky was covered with dark clouds, lightning flashed, and heavy rain poured down. But, do you think I would come to kill you without any preparation? It only takes a moment. This ninjutsu is as unavoidable as Amaterasu. Now I will do as you wish and reproduce your death. Looking at Sasuke bathing in the rain and saying harsh words, Itachi suddenly thought of something and looked up at the sky. He saw the fierce and terrifying lightning spontaneously gathered and condensed above the base. At this time, Black Zetsu, who was also looking at the sky, also thought of what Sasuke was planning. What's the reaction of Uchiha Itachi and Black and White face? Why do I feel like Sasuke is going to use some amazing moves? Oh, could it be that he wants to use the lightning in the sky? Although it seems to make sense, this kind of lucky thing depends on luck. If the weather is good, then he will be at a loss. From what Sasuke said, it should be like this. Although it is a bit of a gamble, if he can use the lightning in the sky, the power of the next move should be amazing. It's not easy to control such a huge force. Orochimaru has trained Sasuke too well in the past few years. He has even sacrificed himself. Sasuke looked at the sky nervously. If it was as expected, the next attack would be his last one. Whether he can successfully take revenge depends on the effect of this attack. It's just that. Although the overall trend seems to be under his control in the future, Sasuke always has a bad premonition that things will not end so easily. Chapter 219. I understand. That's what the fire release just now was for. He deliberately sent the fire release into the air to rapidly heat up the atmosphere, thereby triggering an updraft, thereby forming a cumulus cloud, a thunder cloud. However, White Zetsu didn't understand this explanation, so Black Zetsu said it directly. He is not using his own chakra, but the huge energy in the atmosphere to use the lightning release ninjutsu. Sasuke's left hand condensed a weak lightning, which then jumped quickly and came to a stone tablet with the Uchiha clan emblem standing on the dome in a few seconds. The heavy rain poured down on the burning Amaterasu and turned into bursts of steam. Black Zetsu noticed this and immediately figured out another plan of Sasuke. It's like this. He deliberately lured Itachi outside in order to use the heat energy of Amaterasu. What the hell? Updrafts. I hate these academic masters fighting. Isn't this kind of knowledge just for the sake of numbers? Why can it really be used in battle? Not only his own fire escape, but also Itachi's Amaterasu. Oh my god. From this point of view, the whole battle was arranged by Sasuke, and everything was for this last blow. This makes Uchiha Itachi's self-confidence ridiculous. He thought he could win with a Mangekyo Sharingan. As a result, not only was his overall strength not as good as Sasuke, but even his actions were in the opponent's expectation. Under test. Are you the same people who are evaluating their strength? Before, they were still saying that Itachi controlled the rhythm of the battle, but now they are all talking about Sasuke's strength. I can't help it. Itachi Uchiha was so confident. I was also intimidated by his attitude. This technique can make lightning fall from the sky, and I just need to direct this power to you. Sasuke slowly raised his hand. This technique is called Kirin. The lightning gathered in the clouds connected to Sasuke's hand, and under his control, it turned into a ferocious beast. In this background, Sasuke waved his arm and said softly, "Dissipate with thunder." An unavoidable blow, the burst of lightning came down quickly, not only shattering the building under their feet, but also collapsing most of the low mountain where the building was located. In the ruins, Sasuke gasped and stared at Itachi lying on the ground motionless. After a moment, he lowered his arms and closed his Sharingan, kneeling down with a tired face. It's over. It's over. One move. The whole mountain was split off. This should be the most powerful move so far. A 16-year-old kid mastered this move. Shyunmu really feels like a waste after seeing it too much. It feels like every time someone mentions this topic, they tell you to adapt as soon as possible. Which of those geniuses didn't show their talents in their teens? Let's not talk about the distant past. Take Uchiha Itachi for example. He made a feat of exterminating his clan when he was 13 years old. Geniuses are always there, it's just that the sky screen hadn't been exposed before, so it wasn't so widely circulated. This move is very powerful, but it's not the strongest. At most, it can only be said to have the largest range and the fastest speed. So is the battle over now? Oh, common sense tells me it should be over, but these people who appear on the sky screen always do something counterintuitive, so I'm not sure. Under the kind of attack, Uchiha Itachi was still lying there intact. Just based on this, I dare to conclude that the battle is not over yet. Is this the way you want to show me my death? The calm voice came into his ears, and Sasuke, who had been relaxed, suddenly changed his expression. He quickly raised his head to look at Itachi's position and found that he was slowly propping up his body with blood at the corner of his mouth. In this situation, Sasuke gritted his teeth and activated the curse seal to force his exhausted body to enter the fighting state again. However, what happened in front of him made him unable to suppress his shocked expression. If I didn't have this, I would have been killed. Itachi said softly, and his body was covered by a half-skeleton emitting high-density orange-red chakra. Then he looked at Sasuke with slightly lifeless eyes. You really got stronger, Sasuke. I really strongly doubt whether Uchiha Itachi is pretending, because he seems to have been in a sickly state since the beginning of the battle. As a result, no matter what move Sasuke used, he either dodged it directly or took the attack and stood up after taking a breath. What is this? A skeleton? It blocked Sasuke's Kirin with this. Hey. Did you notice that Sasuke's left eye has become a snake pupil, and the eyeshadow is exactly the same as Orochimaru's? Sasuke should have inherited Orochimaru's power after swallowing his soul. This posture is probably to further tap into this power. Oh, so will Sasuke become the kind of person who sticks out his tongue to lick his lips at every turn, and likes to spit things out of his mouth? We'll talk about it after he can survive this battle. Next, let me show you my last trump card. Susanoo. Itachi stood up, explaining to the puzzled Sasuke, Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu, when you can possess these two abilities at the same time, there is another ninjutsu that resides in these eyes. Sasuke made a defensive move, and Itachi said with a mocking tone, Sasuke, is your ninjutsu the limit? If there is still hidden power, you must use it as soon as possible. The good show is just about to begin. As soon as the voice fell, a large number of tendons grew on the skeleton of Susanoo and covered with muscles to form a half-giant with a clear face. Not only that, it also further condensed to thick Tengu armor, and the shield-like equipment in its hands stood in front of Itachi. The last trump card. As expected, the one with more trump cards has a greater chance of winning. Hiss, even if there is no other special ability, condensing chakra into this size, it can kill most opponents by smashing, not to mention its defense is terrifyingly high. What's the point of fighting? Before, I thought Sasuke's wings could block most conventional ninjutsu, but now compared to this thing, it's child's play. It can even withstand ninjutsu of the strength of Kirin. How many attacks in the ninja world can break this layer of defense? Chapter 220. Don't think Uchiha Itachi is too invincible. At least in front of the Tsuchikage's dust release, this defense can definitely be easily broken. You can also try the third Raikage's Hell Stab. Just like the Snow Country's chakra armor before, attacks concentrated on one point are always easier to break those solid defenses. No, this Mangekyou Sharingan is getting more and more excessive. It has strengthened Uchiha Itachi, who is not as strong as Sasuke, to the point where he can be evenly matched with him or even slightly better. I say, why do you always separate the Mangekyou Sharingan from Uchiha Itachi and evaluate them separately? Aren't they also his eyes? No matter what means, as long as he can win, it means that he is stronger, right? Lost, Sasuke muttered as he looked at the sky. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that he was at his wits' end on the sky, while Uchiha Itachi still had Susanoo, an extra intelligence move. Tsukuyomi, Amaterasu, Susanoo. Sasuke had seen the relevant records of the first two moves on the Uchiha Stone tablet, but there was no mention of the last move, which was exactly the key to defeating Uchiha Itachi. Although the barrage also gave relevant suggestions, Sasuke really doubted that even if he concentrated all his strength on one point, he might not be able to break the opponent's defense. Another point is that although the whole battle seemed to be under his control, except for the last scene, when Sasuke watched it from a third-party perspective, he always felt that there was something awkward. Although he could explain it by saying that his strength had become stronger, would the almost perfect brother in his memory become such an embarrassed person? Sasuke looked at Susanoo in a panic. Before he could figure out how to deal with it, the curse seal on his neck suddenly caused severe pain, and then Orochimaru's highly recognizable hoarse voice sounded in his mind, "Lend it to you. I will lend you my power. You need me, Sasuke. Don't you want revenge on Itachi? Come on, release my power. Then you can get what you want." The severe pain made Sasuke kneel down and curl up. In addition, his strength was almost exhausted at this time and he could no longer suppress Orochimaru's power. So under the instigation of the curse seal, 8 huge white tentacles drilled out from half of Sasuke's body after Sasuke screamed, and soon a monster composed of 8 huge white snakes with sharp scales appeared. Hey, Orochimaru is not dead yet. So Orochimaru's soul was not actually digested by Sasuke, but was suppressed in his body, and then let out when his own power was not enough to suppress it. This description sounds like a Jinchuriki going berserk. This incident teaches us that we should never swallow anything inexplicable, otherwise we will become like this if we are not careful. Why do I feel that there is some room for maneuver in this situation? If we treat Orochimaru as a tailed beast, we can use the power of the sealing technique to suppress him. In this way, Sasuke can extract Orochimaru's chakra at the critical moment like the Jinchuriki. The risk is too great. Orochimaru is not one of those violent tailed beasts. He is a scientist with a very abnormal brain. The sealing technique may not be able to stop him. What can we do about him? Sasuke's method of suppressing with his own strength is safer. Speaking of this, after Sasuke swallowed Orochimaru, he had to suppress with his own strength. So, did his strength increase or decrease? It should be increased. I don't think Sasuke would be stupid enough to put a time bomb that would weaken his strength in his body. What the hell is this big monster? What kind of species has Orochimaru become? This size feels more and more like the tailed beast. Tisk. Is this kind of big size the development trend in the future? Ordinary ninjas will really be helpless when encountering this size. Is this feeling Orochimaru's 8-headed technique? Itachi looked at the monster in front of him calmly, ignoring its hideous and terrifying posture, and walked slowly towards it. The giant snake monster with bared fangs and claws crawled forward, fearlessly attacking Susanoo. However, no matter whether it was a swift bite from one head or a fierce attack from multiple heads at the same time, they were easily intercepted by the shield in Susanoo's hand and the knife light from the guard in his right hand. 7 snake heads were chopped off in a few seconds. The snake monster with only one head left stopped attacking. It raised its head and opened its mouth. A black shadow crawled out from it. Yakuta no Jutsu. This thing can also be considered a ninjutsu. It's understandable to call it a summoning technique, but ninjutsu, tisk, forgive my ignorance. It's a monster war again. This seems to be the 3rd time. Although there is no technical content, the scene is spectacular. Something came out. This disgusting way of appearance must be Orochimaru. The thing that should appear finally appeared. Itachi stared at the black shadow and said meaningfully. At this time, the black shadow also revealed its true face. It was Orochimaru who was swallowed by Sasuke. He was naked and covered with saliva. After coming out, he spit out a Kusanagi sword from his mouth without saying a word. This shocking scene made the not-so-good-brained white Zetsu show a disgusted expression and complain. He still likes to spit things out of his mouth like before, so disgusting. Black Zetsu couldn't help but comment, just as the literal meaning is, he is a guy as difficult as a snake. Holding the Kusanagi sword, Orochimaru said to Itachi with a smug look on his face, "This is it. I have been waiting for this moment. Thanks to you, Sasuke's chakra used to suppress me has been exhausted. I will take the opportunity to occupy his body, and then..." What does Itachi mean by this? Why does he sound like he's waiting for Orochimaru to appear? This black and white face looks weird enough, but he was surprised by the even weirder Orochimaru. To be honest, can you change this habit of spitting things out of your mouth? Isn't it better to learn from Sasuke and seal things in equipment? Orochimaru is really going further and further in the direction of being an inhuman. He has no image at all. He does whatever is convenient. Chapter 221. Itachi's casual words made Sasuke's face darken. He gritted his teeth in anger and reluctance and tried desperately to recall Itachi's past words and deeds, trying to outline his true motives. What exactly do you want to do? What are you hiding from me? What is the reason for forcing Orochimaru out of my body? A series of questions emerged in Sasuke's mind. Now he no longer cares whether his revenge will succeed in the future. Before he understands Itachi's purpose, what is the meaning of this revenge prompted by him? What is his purpose? Taking my eyes is just an excuse. Why do you want me to become a revenge ghost, Itachi? Sasuke's spirit became quite unstable, but he did not let down his vigilance at the very least. After all, the incident with Danzo had just happened. He suddenly turned his head to look at the door, and said with a cold voice, "Come out, I saw you." Kakashi walked in with his hands in his pockets, looking casual, and responded casually, "Ah. Don't be so serious, I just saw that the content of the sky curtain is related to you, so I came to see you. HMPH, that's really troublesome for you." Sasuke curled his lips in disdain, and said in a very aggressive tone, "But I want to know more about what the Sand Dame did to Uchiha. What is the inside story behind everything Itachi did? You really stumped me." Kakashi scratched helplessly. Scratching his head, "I can't answer any of your questions, because I only found out about the secrets behind the Uchiha clan's extermination after you got into trouble a few days ago. But since the Sandaime has promised to tell you the truth, just wait a few more days. If you really can't wait, let's see if the sky curtain will reveal anything." At the end, Kakashi pointed at the sky curtain with a desperate look. Anyway, no one could influence the content played on the sky curtain. He could only pray that no shocking inside information would be exposed next, or that he could try to calm Sasuke's emotions after some inside information that he couldn't accept was exposed. After all, Konoha couldn't stand any chaos now. Before Orochimaru finished his plan, Itachi directly controlled Susanoo, and a blade of light shot out from the gourd in his right hand and pierced through his body. After being hit, Orochimaru couldn't help laughing, and said with contempt, "Do you think this level of attack can defeat me?" As soon as he said halfway, Orochimaru's face suddenly changed drastically. "This sword, is it the Ten-Fist Sword? Itachi, turned out to be hidden by you." Orochimaru's body softened quickly, and flowed along the sword like liquid to the gourd. During this time, Black Zetsu answered the question for the curious baby white Zetsu. The Ten-Fist Sword, also known as the Sakukuri Itachi, is a sealed sword. It is rumored that the person stabbed will fall into a dreamlike illusion world and be sealed forever. It is a Kusanagi sword with a sealing technique. Orochimaru, what are you doing here? Can you experience the power of Uchiha Itachi's Ten-Fist Sword for us? Too much? Too much? Orochimaru, one of the three ninjas, has become the stepping stone for your battle. The Ten-Fist Sword, isn't this the weapon of the six-pathed sage in the myth? Now even this legendary weapon has appeared? Now that you mention it, no wonder it sounds so familiar. I remember seeing it in a storybook when I was a child. I will immediately turn over the storybooks I read before. Since the legendary equipment such as the Box of Bliss and the Ten-Fist Sword really exist, then other magical equipment and props may also exist. Maybe the story has pointed out the location of these things. The Ten-Fist Sword, no wonder it has been found all the time. It turns out to be a spiritual weapon. Orochimaru stared at the gourd knife light in the sky and murmured. He originally had a hobby of collecting Kusanagi swords, so he naturally coveted this magical Ten-Fist Sword. It's a pity that this thing grows on Uchiha Itachi's Susanoo. From the current situation, even if he uses all his means, he may not be able to win him, so he can only give up his plan for it temporarily. As for what will happen to him in the future, to be honest, Orochimaru hopes that the sky will show more scenes of him being defeated. For someone like him who is constantly pursuing new things, failure is sometimes more valuable than success, because it allows him to see his own flaws and thus improve and create a more perfect self. The more I look at this Susanoo, the more I feel something is wrong. Not only is its defense so high, but now I have this kind of artifact in my hand, and it can kill directly as long as it hits. Suddenly, it seems that even if Itachi didn't have Uchiha Madara's help, it wouldn't be difficult to kill the entire clan. It's not a difficult thing. Once Susanoo is activated, as long as the body can hold on, kill as many as you want. Orochimaru was sucked into the gourd without any resistance, and the Yamada no Orochi connected to him was also sealed. Only a small snake separated and slipped into the ruins before being sealed. The disappearance of the snake monster made Sasuke, who was swallowed, reappear, But at this time he was no longer in the posture of activating the curse seal, because the power was also drawn away with Orochimaru. It's over, Sasuke. Itachi, who completed the seal, panted heavily and coughed during the period, but his expression was quite relieved, and he said in a brisk tone, "Now your eyes belong to me, let me take them slowly." Suddenly, Itachi grabbed the clothes on his chest with a painful look on his face, and then vomited a large mouthful of blood uncontrollably. "Huh?" Exclamation mark. "This little snake, can't it be Orochimaru?" The Sky Curtain deliberately gave the camera, "It's probably true, Orochimaru's ability to survive is too strong. He can wait for an opportunity to kill Sasuke even when his soul is devoured by Sasuke. Now he can escape from this seal in advance. Maybe he will become lively and active again after a while. Sasuke, even the power of the curse seal has been drained away, there's really nothing we can do now. Itachi is under the defense of Susanoo. What can Sasuke do to fight him? Why do I feel that Itachi will die at any time? He doesn't seem to have been attacked before. Why does he keep vomiting blood? Suddenly I feel that Sasuke seems to have some hope, as long as he can hold on until Itachi can't hold on anymore. Itachi doesn't look like he's injured. It feels more like there's something wrong with his body. It can't be a side effect of the Mangekyo Sharingan. Chapter 222. He fell to his knees and coughed violently. The fully armed Susanoo was collapsing rapidly and was about to completely dissipate. Sasuke would not miss this opportunity and quickly took out a kunai with a detonating talisman and threw it at Itachi. The violent explosion immediately created a huge cloud of dust. However, as the dust dissipated, Sasuke saw that the Susanoo, which had not completely dissipated, had blocked Itachi's body with a shield. Facing Itachi, who stood up again and staggered over, Sasuke showed a fearful expression on his face and kept retreating as Itachi moved forward. Sasuke could not accept this result. He frantically took out a series of detonating talismans and roared at Itachi. Unfortunately, all his struggles were ruthlessly crushed in front of Susanoo's defense. If they couldn't withstand the attack of Kirin, a few detonating tags are just like tickling. The shield in the hand of Susanoo seems to be not simple, maybe it is also some kind of legendary weapon. If I'm not mistaken, the completeness of Susanoo is connected with Itachi's physical condition. If Sasuke immediately distances himself and delays for a while, he will probably be able to kill Itachi. You are taking it for granted. Although Sasuke has been jumping around and seems to be very active, I mentioned several times before that his chakra has been completely exhausted. In this case, he will not have much physical strength left. Maybe he can't run out of the attack range of Susanoo even after running for a long time. That jutsu called Susanoo seems to be able to deflect all attacks with a shield. White Zetsu watched the battle unfold in amazement. Black Zetsu also recognized the shield in Itachi's Susanoo after careful consideration. No doubt, that is also a spiritual weapon, the 8-foot mirror that can deflect all attacks, plus the Tenka sword used for attack. It is invincible. My eyes, Itachi continued to stagger forward, as if he was going to fall down in the next second. However, it was this person who was like a candle in the wind that made Sasuke helpless. Even if he risked his life to use the Kusanagi sword to launch an attack, he could not do anything about the 8-foot mirror in Susanoo's hand, and was deflected away with his sword. Yet a mirror, it's another legendary weapon. Could it be that every Uchiha who has opened the Mangekyo has mastered these two weapons? If that's the case, then I have to admire those ninjas of the same era as Uchiha Madara. They can actually make a name for themselves under the dominance of such a ruthless person. The legendary Yata mirror can deflect all attacks, so, what will happen if it encounters that Tsuchikage's dust release? You can go to the black market to post a mission and let Itachi go to that Tsuchikage and try. These people are really talking without any pain. Inoki muttered unhappily. This is the nth time he has attracted hatred. Sasuke hurriedly got up, but there was no way back now. He leaned against the fragments of the stone tablet with the Uchiha clan emblem painted on it, and looked at Itachi, who had walked up to him and stretched out his hand to him, and his legs couldn't stop shaking. At this time, Itachi opened his mouth and said something, then smiled lightly. Sasuke seemed to be frozen, and he stood there in a daze, letting his finger poke his forehead. The blood-stained finger drew a bloodline on Sasuke's face, and the nearly collapsed Susanoo dissipated instantly. Itachi also lost his breath and fell to the ground. The Amaterasu fire that had been burning around seemed to be fiddled with by someone, and scattered black flames around, just in time to burn the last little snake left when Orochimaru was sealed. Ah, did your hand get crooked and hit your forehead? No, no, it seems like he's dead? He died after he touched Sasuke. Fuck, what did he say in the end? Why was there no sound at the critical moment? In the end, Sasuke won. Itachi's body is really problematic, so he looked very weak from beginning to end. He didn't have many injuries on his body. It must be because of his body that he fell down. Sasuke looked at the familiar action on the sky with a sullen face. Although Itachi only saw the shape of his mouth in the last sentence without making any sound, even if he imagined it, Sasuke knew clearly what he said. What is this? You are already dying and you still say this to perfunctorily me. Why on earth did you do this? Why did you leave me alone? Looking at Sasuke with bloodshot eyes and frozen expression, Kakashi pressed his temple with a headache. From Sasuke's state, it can be seen that compared to revenge, he should now be more interested in Uchiha Itachi's motives and the role played by Konoha in the Uchiha clan genocide, and this is exactly what gives Kakashi a headache. From the information Kakashi currently has, it is easy to infer that Konoha definitely played an ignominious role in this matter. Considering Sasuke's rather extreme personality, it is inevitable that he will have some impulsive actions after learning the truth. Kakashi's head is big when he thinks of these. Well, try to stay with this kid. Maybe you can ask Naruto for help when necessary. Hey, this little snake, is it the one Orochimaru just had? Yes, I didn't expect Itachi to have tricked Orochimaru before he fell. Orochimaru has lost all his face. It was understandable that he lost to the third Hokage and the other two Sannin before, but now he was first devoured by a 16-year-old boy, and then was bloodily sealed by an Uchiha Itachi who was not in good condition, and finally he was deprived of even a chance to save his life. It's not sure here that Uchiha Itachi may or may not be dead, but Orochimaru is definitely gone. Alice, one of the legendary three ninjas, ended up in such a disgraceful way, only being a surrogate in the brothers' battle. Itachi, you are such a meticulous person. Is all this in your plan, whether it is my actions or Sasuke's actions? Orochimaru sighed sincerely. After all, he was the one who had personally learned Uchiha Itachi's abilities, and he had been coveting his body since he was 8 years old, so he could confidently say that no one in the ninja world knew Uchiha Itachi better than him. The dark clouds that had originally dispersed covered the sky again and it started to rain heavily. Faced with such an ending, Black Zetsu and White Zetsu were a little bit unbelievable, because Itachi's performance was very different from the Itachi they knew. He did not dodge the attacks that he should have avoided, and he vomited blood many times during the battle, which made people wonder if he had been seriously injured before the battle. Chapter 223. Bathing in the rain, Sasuke tiredly lowered his eyelids, staring at Itachi's finger that poked his forehead with lifeless eyes, and then fainted and fell to the ground. After an unknown amount of time, when Sasuke opened his eyes again, he was already in a dark den lit by only a candle, and his wounds were bandaged. So, if Itachi was in a healthy state, could he be stronger than Sasuke in terms of hard power? It should be possible, at least they should be evenly matched, otherwise it would be too unfair to his past feats. If he was in a healthy state, it wouldn't be Sasuke standing now, and it can be said that he was quite lucky to win the final victory. Itachi was only one step away. If he held on a little longer, he might die with Sasuke. I have bandaged your wound. A deep voice came from the darkness deep in the cave. A voice came from the middle, reminding Sasuke, who seemed a little dazed. You won. But you have also suffered a lot of damage, so it is better not to force yourself to sit up. The owner of the voice walked out of the darkness. It was the masked man who appeared before. We have met before, but we were still enemies at that time. But you don't have to take Deidara's matter to heart. I have no hostility towards you. I brought you here just to tell you one thing. However, Sasuke remained silent and did not respond. His eyes were not even focused. He was stunned and didn't know what he was thinking. Here comes a man who looks like Uchiha Madara. Well, isn't he from Akatsuki? Why did he save Sasuke? Who knows what this man's purpose is? Judging from Uchiha Itachi's attitude towards him, their relationship is not good enough to avenge each other. He saved Sasuke because he is still useful to him. Well, judging from the context of the masked man mentioning Deidara, Sasuke should have had a conflict with Deidara before. Uchiha Itachi is also from Akatsuki. Maybe he wants to find Deidara through other people in the same organization. His position, and Deidara happened to be targeted? Huh? Exclamation mark. They targeted me, That annoying Uchiha Itachi's brother, Uchiha Sasuke. Deidara snorted twice in dissatisfaction, then showed an eager expression, showing the mouth in his palm and sticking out his tongue, just right. Before showing my art to Uchiha Itachi, I'll test the water with his brother first. Anyway, these two guys look equally annoying. Test the water. Since Uchiha Sasuke still appears on the sky, doesn't it mean that you have most likely lost to him? Scorpion on the side ruthlessly revealed this fact, which immediately made Deidara even more unhappy. I won't admit this kind of thing. That guy can live because I haven't shown the ultimate art yet. Since my future self can't do it, let the present self complete it. After killing Uchiha Sasuke, I will kill that annoying Uchiha Itachi. Don't you have any interest at all? If I say so, you might be interested in listening to the story about Uchiha Itachi. The unforgettable name made Sasuke come back to his senses a little bit and glanced at the masked man. Knowing that he had aroused his pay attention, the masked man began his deception. That's right. You think you know your brother, but in fact you know nothing about him. There's no way. Let me start with my own introduction. Like you, I am a survivor of the Uchiha clan. The masked man took off his mask and revealed the Sharingan in his right eye while speaking. I am the one who knows the truth about Uchiha Itachi. Unexpectedly, the moment he saw the other's Sharingan, Sasuke's heart jumped violently, and his left eye opened the Sharingan uncontrollably, and then the three Magatama quickly merged into the pattern of Itachi's main Gekyo. Oh. Are you going to reveal Uchiha Itachi's past next? This is worth a deeper understanding. In the previous battle, I felt that Uchiha Itachi was hiding something. Not to mention his strange words and deeds, he clearly had a killer move like Susanoo, but he waited until his body was about to collapse before using it. I even doubted whether he was serious about taking Sasuke's eyes. Didn't kill him, Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Itachi pursed his lips. Although he had made arrangements for his afterlife as much as possible, he couldn't always go as he wished. Itachi knew Sasuke's paranoia very well. This was a very typical Uchiha character, so he was not sure that he could withstand the masked man's deception. As long as he told some true and false stories about his deeds, Sasuke would most likely become a pawn of the masked man. I should have a backup plan. Shisuo will have the eye. Hey. Uchiha Madara is going to take off his mask. Tisk. I was so excited, but he only showed one eye. There must be something wrong. If it was really Uchiha Madara, why didn't he dare to show it to Sasuke openly? What's the matter with only showing one Sharingan? Hiding his true face shows that his true face conflicts with Uchiha Madara's identity. He needs this mask to maintain his fictional image. Before his mask is taken off, there is no way to confirm whether this person is Uchiha Madara, but since Uchiha Itachi said he is Uchiha Madara, let's just treat him as Uchiha Madara for the time being. Just be careful anyway. Nagato didn't care much about the true identity of the masked man. Anyway, he didn't trust this person from the beginning, and he firmly believed that under the power of the Samsara Eye, all conspiracies and tricks were not worth mentioning, but Obito was different. He was really worried about the possibility of his identity being exposed. It was necessary to act under the cover of Uchiha Madara. Otherwise, it would be hard to predict how many twists and turns his plan would encounter. After all, his brain was not very good to begin with, and his plan was also carried out according to Uchiha Madara's own plan, except that the final beneficiary was changed to himself. Damn the sky curtain. And those people who have nothing to do and guess blindly, why are their brains turning so fast? Hey. How did one of Sasuke's eyes become a kaleidoscope? Oh, could it be that in Sasuke's heart, Itachi is still the most important person to him? It turns out that this most important person can be an enemy. For a long time, there have been only a few people in the Uchiha clan who opened the main Gekyo Sharingan. No, there must be something wrong here. Let's read on. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224. Tears of blood flowed from his eyes. Noticing this abnormality, the masked man subconsciously wanted to dodge, but he was still a step too late. The flame of Amaterasu instantly burned on his shoulder. The masked man screamed and fell into the depths of the cave, while Sasuke covered his left eye in pain. After a moment, he recovered and said to himself in confusion, What happened? What was just? Sasuke glanced at the depths of the cave and thought that the masked man had been burned to death by Amaterasu. Unexpectedly, his voice rang again in the next second. That was the Amaterasu that Itachi sealed in your eyes. In Sasuke's doubtful eyes, the masked man put on the mask again and walked out, saying with emotion, Itachi is worthy of it. Even if he died, he could leave me such a surprise. I didn't expect him to think of this step. It's so weird, he just used Amaterasu on me. Judging from Sasuke's performance, this Amaterasu doesn't seem to be released by him. Don't discuss it yet. Read on. There will definitely be an explanation later. Amaterasu was left by Itachi? No. This masked man walked out unscathed after being hit by Amaterasu. In the eyes of the strong, this Amaterasu is no big deal. Obviously, other people racked their brains to the juice hasn't thought about how to deal with it, how easy it is to show you. I was mentally prepared in the morning, relying on a strong ninja. I wanted to overlook all the ninja. How can we deal with it because of our weakness? Why are you discussing this? Is it on Sasuke? What is the meaning of the topic of not discussing the result? It is better to look at them quietly. This will be completely awake. The masked man's inexplicable speech and the changes in him made Sasuke ask, what are you? In order to kill me? No, it should be said to keep me away from you. Secretly rejoicing in his heart, the masked man continued, this is probably Itachi's last gasp, but it's useless to me. Sasuke seems to be stunned for a long time. I can't help it. I just completed a major event in my life. Now I probably feel very empty. Can anyone analyze Itachi's purpose based on his various arrangements? You asked me to try to understand the person who wiped out his entire clan. So what are you talking about? Although the masked man acted very sincerely, for the time being Sasuke didn't believe a word of it, so the masked man reminded him, Itachi did something to you before he died. Hearing this, Sasuke's brain was shaken violently, and the masked man continued to speak, causing his emotions to fluctuate violently. In the end, for you, he injected all his pupil power into your eyes. What did you say? What exactly are you talking about? Why did he? Sasuke realized that something was wrong, and while questioning, he subconsciously wanted to refute, but the masked man's next words shocked his brain. Blank, don't you understand? He wants to protect you. Although I guessed that the answer might be unexpected, I didn't expect it to be so unexpected. Come on, now let's analyze the meaning of Itachi's previous behavior around the purpose of protecting Sasuke. With this as the premise, then Itachi's previous madness and self-stated purpose are all fake. Wow, no, there are really people discussing it seriously. The previous battle was so fierce, it can be said that every move was fatal. In this case, there are still people who believe the lies of the masked man. I admit that Sasuke's offensive moves are fatal, but if Itachi's strength is actually far superior to Sasuke. In this case, the seemingly fatal moves are likely to be performed by Itachi. When you say this, I remember what Itachi said after Orochimaru ran out of Sasuke's body, the things that should appear have finally appeared. Didn't you wonder why he said this before? Now it seems that Itachi deliberately put Sasuke pushed to the limit, to help him defuse the time bomb of Orochimaru. You are exaggerating. Sasuke is not weak. How strong must Itachi be to arrange every step of the battle clearly, to push Sasuke to the limit without really hurting him, and to guess Sasuke's plan to cooperate with his performance? Think carefully, is this something a human can do? This reason can explain what happened in the battle, but as for the genocide, no one would say that Itachi genocide was to protect Sasuke. Naruto felt like he couldn't understand the word protect. Although he had said real things to those he protected, he couldn't figure out the logic of beating the other person half to death and then saying he was protecting him. Sasuke understood it very easily, but the more he understood it, the more he couldn't accept it. If Itachi was in front of him now, he might not be able to help but use Chidori to greet him directly. He turned him into an orphan, and his heart was always tormented by hatred. In the end, he actually gave such a reason. If he wasn't eager to know more about the inside story, Sasuke would probably have gone crazy and cursed. At least Kakashi was ready and would immediately stop him if the situation was not right. His pupils shook violently, and Sasuke's mind became more and more dazed. Only his mouth opened and closed subconsciously. Protect. Protect me? What a joke. I'll say it again, you think you know your brother, but you know nothing about him. The masked man repeated his words again and finally brought Sasuke back to his senses, but his attitude was very cold, and he obviously didn't take the masked man's words seriously. He responded calmly, "If you dare to talk nonsense again, I will kill you." Chapter 225. It seems that I can't convince you with normal methods, but this is understandable. I, a suspicious guy, suddenly told you such a thing. The masked man knew that he couldn't convince Sasuke with his empty words, so he began to reveal his identity, but what I said is true. You also heard from Itachi about the helper that night. Sasuke's attitude is very interesting. His first reaction is to deny it. Then what if revenge has been completed, and someone suddenly says that the person you are avenging is protecting you? No normal person would admit it. If everything is arranged by Itachi, then Sasuke only sees the image that Itachi wants him to see. This is consistent with the vague words Itachi said before the battle. I agreed. That person is me. Noticing that Sasuke's attitude seemed to be a little shaken, the masked man emphasized, I know a lot about Itachi, but Itachi died without noticing this. Stop making a fuss. It doesn't matter what happens. Get out of my sight. Sasuke's gradually recovered spirit allowed his brain to regain its analytical ability, but at this time he was inexplicably frightened and didn't want to listen to the other party continue to talk, but the masked man obviously wouldn't do what he wanted. It's better to say that this is the result he wanted to promote. No, you listen to me. No, you must listen to me. This is your duty. For the ninja world, for Konoha, for your younger brother, the brother who gave up everything, Uchiha Itachi's way of survival. Wow, the more he talks, the more outrageous. For his brother, I can barely justify it, but for Konoha, or even for the ninja world, even bragging should follow the basic law. Okay. So I was protected without knowing it. You are so gentle, Uchiha Itachi. Hatsuma, Sasuke is going crazy, hearing such words just after the revenge. Do you know why Itachi sealed Amaterasu in your eyes? Because he doesn't want you to meet me no matter what. The reason will be clear as long as you listen to what I say. Looking at Sasuke curled up and said nothing, the masked man said to himself, the only people who know the truth about Itachi are Danzo of Konoha and the third Hokage, and the advisors Menyan and Kaharu. After the death of the third Hokage, the only ones who know about this are those three people. An old guy. Those guys will probably keep the secret forever, and Itachi's truth will be forever sealed in the dark, and that's what Itachi hopes for. But I also know Itachi's truth. As I said just now, Itachi died without noticing this. But he was also very cautious and specially prepared Amaterasu as a backup. I'm afraid he even expected that I would show my Sharingan when I talk to you. Huh? Is this related to the top leaders of Konoha? Is it hard to understand? A big ninja clan like the Uchiha was killed overnight. No one would think that Konoha knew nothing beforehand. If you ask me, Konoha should also be one of the participants. If nothing else, at least block the surrounding environment so that other ninja clans will not be involved. If you have been to Konoha, you won't say this. The Uchiha's residence is in the corner of Konoha. The entire residence is not only surrounded by a wall, but the nearest settlement is also 300 meters away. If you don't keep an eye on it, it will be difficult to discover if something happens. That's even more problematic. Putting the Uchiha in that position is clearly intended to put them in a situation of isolation and helplessness. Don't be so light-hearted. If you've experienced the Uchiha's bad temper, you won't be surprised by this situation. Stop arguing. See what's going on next to see if there's any conspiracy. It's not just about the arrangements during the battle, but you can also predict the actions of the masked man outside of the battle. Is this really something that a human can do? Yes, but you need to collect a lot of information to piece together the target style of behavior. I'm so envious of this ability to predict other people's every move through intelligence gathering. I'm okay at intelligence gathering, but I'm not good at intelligence analysis. I've never passed this course. What did you say? What are you talking about? Protect me? The truth? Sasuke, who had calmed down, fell into a state of doubt about life again after hearing the words of the masked man. The masked man was very satisfied with his state and lowered his voice to guide him gently. Think about it carefully. Think about Itachi, the once very gentle brother. The brain cannot control thinking of Itachi in the past. Sasuke gasped and subconsciously retorted, no. That guy wanted to kill me. To take my eyes. Sasuke was so excited that he accidentally lost his breath and even fainted. When he woke up again, he found himself tied up by the masked man and leaning against the wall. Sasuke may be more at a loss now than when the Uchiha clan was exterminated. It's obvious. After all, One is an emergency, and the other is an action taken by oneself after thinking that you know all the truth. As a result, someone suddenly appeared and said that you did something wrong. If it were me, I might have killed him directly. Speaking of which, Sasuke seems to be easy to fool. Maybe Itachi's story is true, but the masked man didn't produce any evidence. Why did Sasuke's emotions fluctuate so violently after hearing his words? Maybe Sasuke himself also realized that something was wrong, but he chose not to investigate because of hatred before, and then at this time, the other party's words brought back these awkward memories. All of them were hooked out. Sasuke's mood calmed down at this time, but he continued to say a series of reasons, as if to prove that his killing of Itachi was correct. That guy. Itachi is my enemy. He killed my father and mother, and killed all the people in the clan. He is a defected ninja, and a member of Akatsuki. He is a person who should be hated, and my long-cherished wish is to kill him. That night, he did destroy the Uchiha clan, and then defected from Konoha. Before Sasuke could respond, the masked man told him the inside story that shocked him, but those were all tasks assigned to him by Konoha. This is the entrance to the truth about Itachi. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.